the Rushmore Show, where it's all about your top four and nothing more. Kirk, we are live. I don't know if Kirk's live right now, people. Let me just fill you in on something. Kirk's here. You can see him right there. You see him. But he looks like he's in a terrorist ransom video right now. And that is because the internet trucks are working on his internet right now. So he may be in and out tonight, but we're going to have a fun time anyway. You can only see me, huh? Is it only me? Oh, yeah, Kirk is the black screen. Yeah, I see that now. On my end, it looks like he's there. He'll probably be in and out. So we apologize. We also apologize. We're running a little bit behind today. We've had about 78 technical difficulties tonight. So it just is what it is. We're going to make it happen. This is live TV or Instagram, YouTube, which, by the way, maybe you're catching us live on Instagram right now. So we switched over from going live on Twitch to now going live on Instagram. Yeah. So I see Kirk moving. All things are kind of crazy. So you'll probably hear me talk a little bit more than normal. Oh, wait. Do I have Kirk? I heard him a little bit. I can hear you. Apparently on the YouTube side, your screen is black, Kirk, but I can see you. Who knows?
Oh, well, I will work on that.
Kirk may be in and out, like I said. But, hey, look, guys, we're excited tonight. We've got two great guests on. Going to be talking about Sega Genesis Games. In the chat, if you're here, let us know what you guys think about the Sega Genesis. Let me tell you about a couple things we got coming up real quick before we bring our guests on. This weekend, guys, we have got Louisiana RetroCon, which I have a flyer somewhere over here. Who knows where it is? Either way, Louisiana RetroCon is happening this weekend. We will both be there. Kirk and I will be there, regardless of what the internet is like. We'll be there emceeing, doing some panels, having a great time, just hanging out with people, filming some content. Which, by the way, if you went and saw, we were at Pelicon last weekend. We've dropped a couple shorts from that, spinning the wheel, having a ton of fun with people. And go check those out if you have not already done so. Let me say hey to a couple people who are in the house. Let me scroll way back up here. I see Keith Pickin' Preacher is here. Bryce J.W. is in the house. Big Fat Cat Chill, how you doing? Obviously, we got Saturn Stevie or Kevin Sims. We have got, scroll down. Farhan is here. He's the official kind of street team crew. He's a hype man for the Rushmore Show. We appreciate you being here. Advent Dark Link, welcome to the show. Isaac is here. Scrolling down. Barry, Kirk is frozen. Let it go. That is right. I think I've got everybody who's in here. Hey, for everyone who's in here, and there was a couple that were kind of, it looked brand new, at least people that I don't recognize that we have seen before. I want to give you guys a shout out. Welcome to the Summit Squad. All right, so Summit Squad is our way of, you're just part of the crew. You are a part of this team. We love chatting with you guys. Fat Boys Gaming and Nonsense in the house too. How you doing, my friend? All right, well, I am used to having another person with me, Kirk here, but we're having obviously some technical difficulties. So until he's able to hop on, we will get into our show. So again, tonight talking Sega Genesis games, top 4 Sega Genesis games. Let us know in the comments. Oh, wow. Is that Kirk?
Hello? Am I live? Am I here?
Well, you're here on my end here. So
can everybody see me?
I can see you. But apparently on Facebook or on YouTube, I don't know. Let us know. Can you guys see Kirk? Can you see Kirk? Is that Darth Maul Taco Bell cup? That is a Darth Maul Taco Bell cup. It's actually the cup not meant for the cup. So there's the topper, the Darth Maul topper, and this Taco Bell had the Decades menu, and I got a 90s cup, so I figured it kind of went well. Although it sort of fits, but it's kind of like very top heavy. So figuring out how to get it exactly on there, who knows? Robert Pop Springs is in the house. Whoa, look at Advent Dark Link, $10. We got our first, look at that. I don't know if you can hear that. What's your favorite? Mine is for sure Sonic is what Darkling says. Dude, we so appreciate that. Which, by the way, as of this past week, we have now reached the first level of, I guess, the monetization stuff. Kirk knows a lot more about that stuff than I do. But you can look forward, coming soon, we are going to have membership ability where you can hop in and you can become a member. You can support the channel in a monetary way. We're going to have very small degrees there for you guys to help out. We got some really cool membership perks for you guys that we're looking forward to, including some emojis and specific, different videos and stuff that we're going to give for members only. It's going to be a ton of fun. So be looking out for that stuff as it comes up soon. Again, we really apologize that we are just we're getting this trying to get some technical difficulties worked out here. So we'll wait a minute. But hey, 10 gifts, man. Advent Darklink, man, you are awesome. We'll probably, I'm sure Kirk will throw you a wrench here in just a minute. I see that we're not on there. Lopez Drummer in the house. Hey, before we waste too much time on the front end of this, I would like to welcome in our guests. So let's do our intro and then we'll bring them in. There we go, man. We are here. Thank you. What is this gift thing? I'm still figuring it out, Keith. So we're figuring it out. We just got to this first level of, he took over. Oh, wait, what are we doing? What's happening? Okay. Kirk, are you here? Are you actually here?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I don't know if anyone can see.
I don't know. Can they hear me? Maybe they can't hear me. They probably can't hear me. So
we may not be able to see Kirk, but maybe we can hear him tonight.
Can y'all hear me? If you can hear me, then I'll stay on. If you can't, I'm out. Can you hear me?
We can see you. I can see you on. I have YouTube pulled up here too, so I think we can see you. Maybe at least for right now.
All right. Well, I'm in until I get kicked out. Hey guys, thank you so much. So Andy, I heard you talking about the memberships. Yeah, I updated the memberships. We've got new emojis. We have new membership levels. I just want to say shout out to Advent for being the first to jump in here. I was in his live the other night, and man, honestly, I didn't think anybody would give us a nickel, and it doesn't even matter. We'd love to just help. We want to further what we're doing on the convention side, and we'll talk about that later. That's the only thing we really care about. So we really appreciate that. For all those that have been gifted, you guys now have some emojis. Hopefully that landed over to you guys. So we appreciate you guys, and we have some great guests. So Andy, I'm going to let you run with most of it because I'm probably going to get kicked out.
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes tonight. But look, without any further ado, tonight we're talking Sega Genesis games. We are going to welcome in our friends, Manny from Manny's Arcade and Saturn. Steve, let me go ahead and work on bringing them in here. Now we've got 3 working cameras tonight at least. How are you doing?
There it is. Let's go. Here we are. We're on here, guys.
We did
it,
guys. Hey, you know what? Shout out to Kurt. It was hard to run a podcast with dial-up modem. So, dude, you were doing your best, and you're killing it. We love it.
Yeah. For those that don't know, I mean, I think we kind of briefly mentioned it. We ran a little late today because every single one of us,
all of us,
was having some kind of technical difficulty. Yeah. I had to uninstall and reinstall Google Chrome. It never had to do that.
I was banned for a minute. It wouldn't even let me in. I was like, what am I going to do? Where do I go?
Manny had the FBI on him.
Yeah, I was scared. I was like, what's going on? IRS was on my page for some reason. I'm like, what's happening here?
I had to reinstall.
Well, hey, man, welcome, guys. We're so excited to have you guys on the show. This is definitely going to be a fun time tonight. If anything, I know the fact that we have all these technical difficulties means that tonight's show is going to be really cool.
It's got to be.
It's going to have to be cool.
It's got to be.
And if it isn't, then who knows? Sorry, we'll try better next time. We'll do something different. But yeah, no. Hey, welcome to the show, guys. Manny, let's get started with you, man. So tell everybody, man, who you are, what you got going on, what your show is, what your channel is all about. Obviously, I see I'm scoping out that N64 neon sign behind you.
Oh, I'm telling you, yeah, I got my N64 back here. We got our AI buddy back here waiting to take over.
Look at
There
that.
he is.
I love
Skynet,
that so
baby.
much. All right, so
But yeah,
just
guys,
say hey to everybody.
yeah. So, all right, sorry, I got a little hearing problem right here, but we're gonna get through this, man. I'm telling you, once me and Saturn Steve linked up, it was like the mega powers, brother. We're just taking down the whole internet right now. The whole world might explode. We don't know, but we're here, man. We're here. We're gonna get through this show. But anyways, guys, I'm Manny. I go by Manny's Arcade. I make a lot of retro gaming content. I collect arcade games, pinball machines, a lot of retro games. I'm a big Sega fan. I go to a lot of local conventions, I should say. I go to a lot of events, buy sell trade events. I sell at a lot of buy sell trade events, and I love making content and interacting with people. And sorry, my Chihuahua is going crazy over here. But yeah, but yeah, that's what I like to do, man. It's pretty much everything that I do.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. I'm just trying to check everything out that's back there behind you. It's so cool.
Oh yeah, I like to be inspired by things that I enjoy.
Yeah,
So I just like to surround myself with just nostalgia and just inspiration, really. You know what I mean? Some days you wake up and you're like, oh, I don't feel like making nothing, and you're like, you know what? I need to post something about Sonic today. I need to do some Street Fighter stuff. You know, Terminator.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, so that's what I've been doing. So at the cons, I've been N64, just been purchasing that stuff, and it's really just for nostalgia trip and stuff.
Great console.
But lately, it's been like, let me go find something from the 90s or the 2000s. You know what I mean? Like that's about all I go into it with. It may be a figure. Like I bought the Darth Maul Taco Bell.
Oh, I see that. That's awesome.
Like, hey, why not? Right? But yeah, man. So love that stuff. Saturn Steve is in the house too.
Steve, let's go.
What's up, everybody?
Give everybody a shout out. What you got going on?
Thank you guys for having us both on here. It's been a little touch and go getting started, but here we are. I'm Saturn Steve, and Saturn Steve is my channel, YouTube and on Instagram. And it's not just Sega stuff, Saturn stuff. It's anything and everything that's retro. I'm probably the most retro one in this room. I certainly felt like it when I was trying to get the internet working. But no, it's Saturn stuff is my jam. That happened kind of by accident, which we can talk more about later. But the homies, Cup of Retro and Retro Gaming Pandemic, Jared and Eric, those guys, Retro Wolf, Arkansas Picture, Andy Pac-Man Case, these guys all kind of encouraged me to do it. And I do it as often as I can, which lately has not been that often. But 2025 is going to be something different. So stay tuned. It's gonna be fun. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, man. We're excited, like I said, to have you guys on. Maybe at some point tonight we'll hear like 2 or 3 words from Kirk. Kirk may just put it in the chat and may make his picks there. He may be a virtual assistant. Yeah.
There he is. I'm looking forward to those words, man. Those wise words. I know they're going to be wise.
I was just pausing just to make sure I used them correctly. I'm sure I'm pretty choppy on the other side, but I know you guys can see me. And what I do know is that eventually it'll all come up. So, hey, man, we appreciate you guys coming on. Yeah, we have 2 internet trucks like like Back to the Future outside, smuggling some plutonium, trying to figure out what to do with our internet. It kicked me back to dial-up, so I mean, what a good way to be back at dial-up is to do some retro gaming when we didn't need the internet, right? So I appreciate you guys for being here. I appreciate everybody in the chat. Thanks for being here. And let's get this thing started. Manny, we flipped in the backstage, and Manny won the coin toss. And he decided to receive the kickoff and go with the opening kick. So it's going to be Manny today with Steve second, Andy third, and me fourth. Here's the thing. Before we get started, you want to give your criteria. And that just is why these games. It goes without said. It depends on where you live or where you're from, who you root for or what you like, of what reasons you pick a certain athlete, a certain whatever. So, I always like to talk the Tom Brady conversation, right? If you are a Giants fan or a Jets fan, or you are in the, AFC East, you're not going to put him on your mountain unless you ran into him and met him or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's off. But he should be on most people's mountain otherwise. So you're going to tell us why these things are on your mountain and why our mountains don't matter. It doesn't even matter because it's all about your nostalgia and your experience. So that's kind of it. So Annie, you're going to go first. Tell us how you started, and then we'll rewind that thing and go with Rosie. Rosie's number 4.
All right.
Okay, so
criteria.
So I'm going to tell you how I started. What again? What was that? I'm sorry.
Just your criteria. What was your thinking to narrow it down to 4? What
process
went into your list?
Okay, so my thought process was games that I played a lot. They didn't have to be the greatest games, but they were just games that I just couldn't stop playing. Games that were the only ones that were available at the video store at the time. So I just kept renting them over and over again. I pretty much kind of forced myself to like them. Yeah. But I think I picked some pretty good ones. I think they might surprise you guys.
All right. So we'll get started. So our first level of the mountain is Roosevelt, but we gave him the great name Rosie. We figured he's the 4th most important on the list. So with that in mind, give us your Rosie. What now? Here's the thing. This is always, for anyone who comes on, probably the most difficult choice, right? Because this is like the gatekeeper. This is the line in the sand of like, this is it. This is the not bottom tier, but nobody else is getting into the top 4 because of this pick. So your number 4, your Rosie. Manny, what you got for us?
Okay, so number 4 is going to be the best?
The worst of the...
Oh, the worst of the worst. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Okay, so my number 4... Oh, man, let's see. It's so hard because I honestly, I kind of moved this one back and forth a little bit, but I'm going to have to go with my number 4 is going to have to be Beyond Oasis. Saturn Steve, don't hate me, man, but Beyond Oasis, I know he loves those style games, and I feel like that one's going to be my 4th.
Okay.
It was 3.
This game.
All right, so Beyond Oasis, I forgot the character's name, but he's like some prince, and he's gonna protect the kingdom. It's kind of a top down. You're looking at a top down, like Secret of Mana, and you're going around. Yeah, Prince Ali, that was his name. And what's it called? You're going to save the kingdom from these like monsters and all this stuff, but you have to get a gauntlet. You end up getting a gold gauntlet. There's a gold and a silver. The silver is the one that's like evil. It's bad. You want to stay away from that one. Nobody wants to deal with it. Your skin might turn green. I don't know. But the gold one is the one that Prince Ali has, and he can summon fire. He can summon water. And you're going to use these elements throughout the game to destroy these like blocks of ice that are just blocking the bridge. But you got to summon fire. He's going to come out. He's going to start socking it up. And then that's it. You're going to cross that bridge. You're going to open a door that's on fire. You're going to put some water on it. I mean, it's just a really cool game. It's a short game, but it is a awesome game. And I still want to play the one that came out for Saturn. I never played it before, but that's on my to-do list, man. But definitely Beyond Oasis is one of those games I went back and forth on. But in the end, it took my number 4 spot, guys.
Nice.
Wow.
So I don't know this game. You're educating me, but I think the reason I don't know this game. There you go. Look at that. You got it. Yeah.
Nice.
The reason I don't know this game is it's an RPG, right?
It's an action RPG. Yeah. See, I'm not a big RPG guy at all. I'm more of a beat 'em up. I want to get through the game as fast as I can, so I can go outside and play, come back in. Now this is old school 90s Manny right here. But now I just want to play it, eat, and then go back and play it. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the reason why I don't have it to show you guys, it's an expensive game. It is pricey.
Yeah. So I see Kirk moving actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's there. I was watching him right now too. I was like, there he is.
So Manny, I don't know if you planned it this way, but as you were talking about Beyond Oasis, which I was going to roast you for not remembering the character's name, but I have it right here. It's the only reason I remembered.
You saved me, bro.
You remembered way more than I did about the game. But as you were talking about this, Legend of Oasis was actually playing in the background.
Well, was it really? Oh, I couldn't see it on here. Oh, man, I see Daytona right now.
Like, it was on your background, behind you.
Oh, on my background. Oh, no wonder I couldn't see it. The old eyes back here, they're not working no more.
Like, man, this dude is good. I'm going to take notes from Manny.
Yeah, it's not a perfect timing.
So,
Steve, you like this game? You like
it was great, man. Yeah.
Cool game.
It was done by Ancient, which was Yuzo Koshiro's, I guess, brainchild. He and his sister. Oh, it's Yuzo Koshiro, great. I mean, famous soundtrack guy. He was hugely responsible for Streets of Rage. Everybody knows the Streets of Rage 2, like techno music, like all that.
Some of the
That's him.
best.
Like
Yeah.
that's some of the best. It's him. And the animation on it was insane. You remember how Disney's Aladdin for the Genesis was so smooth and fluid because had Disney animators working on it?
Mhm.
It was at that level. So it was a fantastic game. Kind of Zelda kind of play style, but it looked fantastic.
The
Way
play
better
style
than
was like Zelda on roids or something. It was just, it was really aggressive, but it was fun. And like, if you don't want to do a whole lot of reading, because I'm not, like I said, I'm not an RPG guy, but if you don't want to do a whole lot of reading and you want to kind of enjoy that element, that's the one right there.
Who's got time for reading?
I don't have time for reading. I got enough bills.
Yeah, right. So, for me, we ready?
Oh wait,
Hey,
Kirk,
can you hear me?
gonna say? Yeah, I got you, Kirk. What you got?
Hey, man. So this is a great pick. It was one of my Benjamins. So I love the game. Just like Kevin said, it's pretty much like a Zelda clone, if you will. It's a cool top game, over the top adventure, kind of RPG-ish mixtures. I love this game, and it's probably about 7 or 8 for me. But it's a great game. I love the graphics. I love the storyline, and man, I really love this one.
Yeah. Nice. Well, we got some people joining in here. GameCube Galaxy in the house. Nice. How you doing? And I think that's it. Oh, Retro Timer
so we
is
had
here.
Erica with MSX Retro, and we had a couple other people that's jumped in for the first few times. We kind of followed you guys all on the IG side. We follow you guys at the conventions. We've been following you guys for a while. We appreciate you guys coming in. Having amazing people like Steve and Manny come in. We always kind of, oh yeah, we finally do know you. Hello, and so welcome to the squad. So yeah, enjoy. Get you a cup of coffee. We're going to talk through our top 4. So
that's what I want. Coffee.
That is a great idea, actually.
Yeah, a lot of great people in this chat, man. I see a lot of people. MXS Retro. I'm following her for TikTok for years. Great people. Lopez Drummer. I see Keith in here. The Pig and Preacher and Retro Cart Collector. Guys, check them out.
2 Keiths.
Yeah, Woo, 2 Keiths.
Keith was just on
wow.
about 2 weeks ago.
Retro Tiburon.
The other Keith will be on in like 3 weeks. So those both.
There we go.
Yeah.
Bryce and Isaac. Wow.
Yeah.
Bryce is in the house. So, Bryce put us over the top, to be honest. His show is.
Oh, Bryce is that dude.
Bryce is that dude. He's the man. Bryce, dude, we love you, man. You're absolutely the best. For sure.
Yeah.
This is for you, Bryce.
Right.
This is for you. This is your
life.
life.
And I'm gonna throw it out. I get to hang out with Bryce in what?
Oh.
2?
Yeah.
Hey,
hey, I think you'll probably be hanging out with me too, because I think I'm going.
All right.
Yeah. So
you guys are like neighbors anyway. We found out.
Yeah, we figured out that we're basically neighbors.
Yeah. So all right. So wild. Steve's up.
All
Steve,
right,
you're up. Give us your criteria, and then your number 4.
Okay. Criteria for me was I wanted to pick things that I did not think anybody else would pick. I'm starting to realize I may have failed at that, but we're going to find out. But I know Manny pretty well, so I had kind of an idea what he would pick. We'll find out again if I'm right. But I wanted things that weren't. First of all, I didn't want my picks to be determined by price, because a lot of people will be like, "Oh, pick the most expensive." No, I'm going to pick what I like, right? And I want picks that are maybe not the ones you would immediately think of when you think of Sega Genesis, but might be hidden gems. I also wanted to pick games that were not cross-platform. So if I could help it, I wanted to be a Genesis exclusive. So that's what I went with. I wanted to go a little bit more obscure and something that you won't find on any other system. That was my criteria.
Awesome. All right, so we're going to start with your Rosie, your number 4. Let us know.
Okay, which, by the way, is the best Roosevelt. Okay.
Yeah.
I picked, and this is relevant to you guys for last week, and Keith was talking about it. Lightning Force. This is Thunder Force 4.
Nice.
This is a shmup, and it is insanely difficult. Well, not by the quote unquote bullet hell standard, but this is it's like Gradius Plus, maybe, right? But I will tell you, I had no idea what this game was when I don't know if that'll work or not. it won't. But when I picked this up for like $3 back in the day. No idea what it was, and it blew me away. It's a side-scrolling shooter, and I was a Super Nintendo kid. You'd never seen colors and scrolling and just insane graphics on a screen like that, except for maybe on a Neo Geo at the time. It's the third one that was on the Genesis. So it got noticeably better each one. But Thunder Force 4 was an absolute banger, and like the music, stellar. That's not a pun, I guess it was, but the graphics absolutely blew away any other shooter I'd ever seen in my life. And it's one of the most fun games on the system, and probably one of the most underappreciated. So that was my pick for number 4.
All right,
That's
nice.
a great pick. That's a great. We
That's a
talked
great
about
pick.
it.
Really good pick.
So this is a fantastic pick. It's one of the best shmups out there.
So good.
And all you gotta do is watch a little clip of it, and you'll be like just overwhelmed with the colors, the sounds, and just everything that game's got going for it.
Same.
After Keith brought it up, I went and played it a little bit. So yeah, it was
yeah,
good time. So
This is the one that Keith showed us the gameplay of briefly in the episode, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
I wondered if
it
you guys were going to get around to that one. I missed that part.
Yeah, it was right at the beginning. We tried to show gameplay of everything, and then we had technical difficulties, which is rare for us. For that to happen, it's crazy.
I don't know why that would be a thing.
Yeah, no. So this, I mean, I would rank it probably in there with the shmups. I mean, it's not Pokemon Snap, but it is.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
I mean, what is right? Or Pokemon Snap 2.
One of the GOAT games right there.
Maybe let me not say that too loud. We got some friends that like to comment on our picks.
Yeah, get him.
From Florida. So, but we love them. Anyway, anybody else thoughts on this game? I mean, I know we talked about it a couple weeks ago. It is. I do agree. I mean, just the graphics look super bright and just well defined. I like it. I mean, looks like I haven't played it personally, but yeah.
It was something I think that if you saw it on the Genesis, you could believe you were looking at an arcade game, which was huge back then. Because the Genesis didn't have a broad color palette. You looked at a lot of the games that were very muted, and you look at that one, and it was just nuts. What a miss.
Sorry, it's just we can't. Yeah. Anyway, who knows? He might be here right now. But anyway,
look. In all honesty, all jokes aside, I live in Atlanta because I'm a homeless missionary, and I do know everybody that he needs to know to get off the street. Just saying, every single person. So
you got
I can even get him down there in Broward County. So it will help. But whatever.
You gotta want the help. So hey, all right, man. This is a good pick. Good way to start the mountain. I guess I'm up next, right? Yeah. So for my criteria, I mean, I didn't overthink it. I did have the Genesis, so I probably split time 50-50 between the SNES and the Genesis as a kid. Now I'm a born in '89 kid, so I'm like 90s, 2000s were just like everything for me. So Sega Genesis fits right in that too. Had this for sure growing up. Wish I still had this. So it was really just games that I just remembered playing. I mean, I don't know. And now some of them may not be considered the greatest of all time, but that's the beauty of Rushmore, is that it's all personal, right? So all that to say, my Rosie, where we're going to start this game off with, I love the animation of this game. It's a platformer. It is I love the sounds in this game. I love the comedy, humor aspects to this game. It screams 90s to me and everything. There was a cartoon that came from this too. I don't remember. I'm assuming the cartoon came after the game. Either way, I'm going with Earthworm Jim. Earthworm Jim is going to be
good pick.
Now Earthworm Jim 2 is a great game too. I'm just picking Earthworm Jim, right? So both games great. Again, like I said, the animation to this game it is just so fun. You can't play Earthworm Jim and like be serious, right? You have a ton of fun. It was very much to me like a Nintendo type game in the sense that it was colorful and fun and humorous and all that kind of stuff too. But yeah, I mean, having like the little ray gun and stuff and all the noises when those creatures start coming and chomping on you and stuff. I was watching videos today of gameplay of these ones because again, I haven't played them in years, and every sound that was made was just bringing back so much nostalgia for me. This is just a great game, and it's a strong game for a number 4. But my list, I mean, these were the top 4 games that I was for sure playing a ton of. So I'm going to go Earthworm Jim to start off my list. And Kirk hates the pick so much that he disappeared. But,
he just quit the show. He was done. I think that's a great pick. That's a really cool pick. I don't know. Is that so? Earthworm Jim I never owned, but I used to rent it like crazy. I mean, I rented it a lot back in the day. But one of those games that was just so hard, I could never beat it.
Yeah.
I only got like the first like 2 or 3 levels. Even today, I still can't get past certain levels, and it's just I don't know if they made it that hard on purpose, because of the whole rental thing. They got tired of people renting games and they wanted to make them harder, so you had to buy them.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was one of them, but that game was hard.
I definitely remember it being difficult. But it was one of those games that, like, I played some games that were difficult, but I didn't want to come back and play it because I felt like I just couldn't. This was a game that was difficult enough, but it brought you back too.
That's true.
It was definitely playable. Again, the animation in it, it's a cartoon.
It looks beautiful.
Yeah. And
what I love the most about this game is the actual mechanics of the game. Like the whole idea that it's a suit holding an earthworm and he's a whip and a lasso and he's all this Indiana Jones stuff. Super creative. I remember playing this game actually at Kevin's house, which that's normally how things happen if you've been around this show. And Kevin's in the chat. He's our historian. But I do remember playing this game there with the ray gun and like jumping around the junkyard. There's like tires and you're like going across stuff. It's a cool game. It was pretty hard for a platformer. One of the things that I kind of DQ'd it for was it was multi-platform. It's all over the place. But when I first imagined it, it was a Genesis game to me. So
I think I only played it on the Genesis. That's the only place I ever played. It's one of those
games that I would have considered it a Genesis game if I didn't look it up. And I have like 4 of those on my list today that I was kind of like, yeah. So welcome to the show. Matter of fact, there's a bunch of people that are here in the chat lurking around. I met him at Siege 2, and we were comparing mustaches. That's one of the guys
you got.
I think I'm out of that one.
That guy, yeah.
You're out on that one.
Thing real quick about Earthworm Jim that I remember just being really cool was the level design. So it's a platformer, but it's not just like left to right.
Right.
Like you can hop down on things, you can slide. Like it was very, it was different, at least in that aspect. So it was just an interesting game. So.
That's good point. The level design was great. So do you remember the bonus stage, Andy Asteroids?
Yeah.
Flying around the rocket and it's playing like crazy banjo music or whatever, or like a fiddle music. So so true story. That is in my phone right now. That is Arkansas Picker's ringtone. So, it's great. I was tired of hearing Deliverance. So
That's hilarious.
Oh man! One thing I remember from the Earthworm Jim, that whole era right there was the promos and the commercials were amazing. They were funny. They were hilarious.
So
they had cows all over the place. I mean, it was insane.
That's right. They had cows before Chick-fil-A. They had the cows.
This is a legend pick. It's an absolutely great game from that time frame. I love the cartoon. It was very sarcastic, kind of like The Tick. It was.
That's right. Cartoon was good.
Yeah.
I saw Earthworm Jim.
We have admitted.
Oh. Well, welcome to the show, CM Puke. That's
CM
awesome.
Puke.
Hey. So let's jump into mine before
While
I
you
list
have
them.
video, while you're here,
Yeah.
Here we go. Drum roll.
So here's the thing. Genesis, my Genesis experience, 90% of it was in two places. It was at Kevin's house, and then I ended up buying the system with the copyright downloader for all the rental games, and it could do SNES games, it could do Genesis games, and I only had Genesis for a little part of my life, and but most of the games I play were either at Kev's or on that system. So I kind of limited it to the ones that were in my collection, then knowing that they're the most nostalgic for me. And then second, I really just picked the ones that were what I would consider had the emotional stance to be like, man, I would love to play that again immediately today. And that's kind of just where I went with it. My top four was actually harder than I wanted it to be because there are about 12 games that I wanted to kind of jostle around. And I was trying to think of our guests and Andy, kind of what they would pick. And so I was kind of trying to pick maybe a few that might not make it on other lists completely, at least one or two. And but my first game coming out the bat, my Rosie, many of you guys are obviously going to know this because it also is a cross-platform game. But just like Andy, that's kind of why I called that out for Earthworm Jim. I see the game that I'm about to say legitimately as a Genesis game. The one that was on Nintendo, Super Nintendo was completely different. And this is more of a port from the arcade, but I'm going with 1990 Capcom Strider for my first pick. And, man, I love playing this game over at Kevin's house. It's like a ninja with this crazy blade. He's fighting these like mechanical enemies and ninjas and all kinds of guys. I was actually just playing it before the show. Just reminded me, I got to like level 3 and I was like, man, I got to go do something. But man, the game is amazing. It's awesome. He's like doing acrobats. He's jumping all over. He's got like this little grappling hook. He can climb the side of the buildings. I love this game. Great music, great graphics. The weapon was cool, and I mean the cover art. Which Andy, by the way, with all the Genesis games, it reminded me one of these times we need to do cover art. A cover art.
Oh yeah,
top 4.
That would be good.
Genesis knows what's up, man. And there's a lot of really cool art in the Genesis. Strider 2 Genesis is a terrible game. It absolutely is. Yeah, Kevin, you remember us playing Strider back in the day? I love this game so much, and honestly, I had it for the Nintendo, but on the Nintendo, it's not the same. It's much more like Bionic Commando almost. And it's just not the same game. So I'm coming out strong out the gate with Strider.
All right. So you mentioned cover art, and I'm Googling this. Have you seen the thing where the cover art for Strider is the same guy from the Genesis Love Connection
Yes.
game? It's literally the same thing.
Is that really him?
What?
Dude, look at the cover
I never
art
knew
of
that.
both of those games. They copied and pasted the face. It's
That's
crazy.
What?
That's
Let me
crazy.
hold on. Watch this. I'm gonna, just so I can show people. Give me just a second, and I'm gonna put it up on the screen.
That's like the team.
Wow.
In Preacher, yes. Japanese titles will count. We'll go back.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I was disappointed in the NES Strider as well.
How's that not working?
Well, and then my mind was blown when I saw the Genesis at my neighbor's house, and I was like, "What is this game? What was I sold?" That's
Love Connection.
crazy.
Yeah, you guys got to go look that up. Trust me, I don't know why it's not working. Technical difficulties won't let me.
Yeah, that's wild.
It's
Wild.
Chuck Woolery's face.
It's literally Chuck.
They literally just took the face off, put it on that character. That's wild.
They changed
Chuck
the hair
Woolery's
color
Strider.
to slightly lighter than Strider. It's so funny. Anyway,
we'll be back in 2 and 2.
You guys played this game? Yeah. Wait, so what are we looking at? So Keith, go just type in Google Love Connection, Sega Genesis, and Strider.
It'll pop
the
up.
face of the character is Chuck Woolery. It's the same.
Yeah.
They copied
The
and
same
pasted it.
face.
You didn't know Chuck Woolery was Strider, did you? Which is actually what's running in the background.
I didn't realize Chuck had that Python power, man. That's crazy. Check him out, bro. He's flexing in this one.
I'm trying to get it to add here, but it's not saving as it's being done.
It'll be like the first one that pops up.
He said, "Whoa!" So he must have caught it. Yeah. Anyway, so
You're blown away.
About the game though. So you guys, I haven't played this game. You guys, let me know. What do you guys think? You guys like Strider?
Strider's
I like
awesome.
Strider. Yeah.
Yes. I think Strider's running right now.
Is it playing back there?
It's great. Yeah, for sure.
Nice. Yeah.
It's fantastic.
I think it's really cool.
Right said Chuck Norris. No, Chuck Woolery. That's before your time, Bryce.
His cousin.
We'll be back in 2 and 2. You know, that's that guy. Yeah, I mean they
Here it is, guys. Here it is, just so you guys can see.
There you go.
Look at that.
Check that out. Talk about cutting costs.
The exact same.
I wonder if Chuck knows.
Look at those faces.
When he's not saving the world, he's saving your relationship. What a guy, man.
Oh my God.
You're calling out
insane.
the back of my screen. That's an ode to you. I remember playing that at your house as well. So
That's hilarious.
Is that a real game? I don't even know. It's Reddit. Reddit told me it was, so who knows? But it's pretty awesome.
anyways.
Anyway, all right.
Well,
cool.
that's
So
my
that's our
pick,
first
and I'm
round.
sticking to it. Hey, but what I was going to say, Andy, is the cover arts. Actually, cover art is really interesting. Like even like Contra, right? Is basically Stallone and Arnold.
Yeah.
Back in the day, they were pulling things from all over. Like we
Dude.
talked about it last week with the Mega Man cover.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Mega Man.
Doesn't have an
What
actual
is that?
blaster. He actually has a gun on the front. I mean, there's some weird stuff in the gaming world with the cover art, and I think that would be a very fun top 4 to do next year.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
even
for
in
sure.
nostalgia. We could do it in nostalgia, which is in the summertime. So it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds like it's going to be a good episode.
Yeah, let's move on to our second round, which is our TJ, Jazzy, Jeff. We're going to come back to you, Manny. So next on your list, number 3 in order here of your list.
Deep devotions in the
Number 3.
Yeah.
All right. So number 3, here we go. I don't know if you guys are ready for this one, but it's a good one, man. I love this game. It's got an amazing soundtrack. It's got a cool story. There's an amazing arcade game that was also made for it. And guys, I'm going to go with Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. Woo! That's the one right there, man. Any game that you could fight crime and save people and make all these criminals dance and make the dogs dance. I mean, it's just, come on. What more do you want out of a game? You can turn into a robot. You got Bubbles the monkey. I mean, as a kid, I love it.
I'm honestly a little hurt because I'm like, nobody's picking Moonwalker today. I'm gonna say but here's gonna be my awesome pick at Benjamin because it's coming in hot. I was looking at the top 50 games or whatever, and it was number 50. And I was like,
wow.
Yeah, nobody's gonna say that. But look, here's another game that Kevin had. And bro, I love playing this. And you hit the special move, and everybody starts dancing in the bar room.
Oh, it was amazing.
That game was so cool.
It was great. It was great.
He's kicking them with his glitter and stuff. Dude, that game is so fun.
He's hopping on top of cars. The coin in the jukebox. I mean, it is. You're going up and down the bar, hopping on pool tables.
It's just like real life. It's just a biographical
and
game.
it sounded so good. It sounded so good, especially in the 90s. That sounded so good. You're like, wow.
I remember seeing a clip of this on like Instagram or something and saying, this is fake. Somebody made this up. This is not a real thing. And then looking into it and like, this is actually a game. So I definitely didn't play this. Interesting about this, have you seen the cover of this? It's also Chuck Woolery and Michael Jackson. No, I'm just kidding. It's not. That would be really crazy. If it was Chuck Woolery. No,
Chuck Jackson.
I guess, hey, cool game. Sure. Michael
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's my number 3 right there. I love that game. I had a lot of fun playing it. It wasn't the best game in the world, but man, it had a lot of things that you just wanted for a quick play on the weekend, get your money's worth from the rental. And I actually got a cool little story real quick, if you guys don't mind.
Yeah.
Back in 2009, I went to a place in Bellflower, California, and this gentleman, he was selling arcade games. I found my Grail arcade game, which is the original 1989 Batman prototype based on the movie. It's insane. I still have it. That's my Grail arcade. But he also had a Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. Now, I was picking up the Batman and the Spider-Man. I had no room for the Moonwalker. So the guy told me, if you want it, I'll give it to you for $150. It still had Michael Jackson's autograph on the side. It was all original, 3 players. Guys, it was $150. I passed up on it. I said, you know what? If you still have it during the weekend, I'll come and I'll pick it up. Well, guess who passed away a couple days later? Yeah, Michael Jackson.
Oh
I think it was 2008 or 2009, something like that.
09, I think, yeah.
I think it was 9,
Wow.
yeah. And after that, he wanted $800, which was still quite a bit. Now it's not so much. That's a deal now. But I definitely missed out on that one, man. That's one original Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. I dropped the ball, guys.
So here's a fun fact. I share a birthday with Michael.
Oh.
Jackson. He meant to say Jackson, not Jordan, I don't think. Michael, yeah. We had Kirk for a while. It was fun.
That was a good run. Yeah.
It was Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. Right? Isn't that what Dr. Seuss said?
He's gonna finish the story. He's got to finish the story.
It's a cliffhanger.
It's a cliffhanger. Come back for the next episode, guys.
Yeah. Man,
all right,
oh man.
Moonwalker, great pick. Unfortunate story, but great pick.
Yeah.
All right, so Saturn Steve, we're gonna go. We'll move to you. Next on your list, I didn't say this before, but we call him TJ Jazzy Jeff or Thomas Jefferson. So TJ Jazzy Jeff, who is this number 3 on your list?
All right, this was really tough. I'm actually still deciding, but it's gonna be all right. I got it. It's gonna be Shinobi 3.
Oh.
Yeah. This
good
another
pick.
Fantastic game. Right? Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. And this is my original copy from when I was a kid, or not a kid, but teenager, whatever. Anyway, I love the Shinobi franchise. It's awesome. It is the return of the Ninja Master. The same thing with this. I liked when I saw the Genesis do things I did not think the Genesis could do. Then it impressed me all the more. And Shinobi 3 is kind of like to side-scrolling action platformers what I think Lightning Force or Thunder Force 4 was to shooters or shmups. The graphics were fantastic. The controls were responsive. And it was just a fantastic game. I mean, there's parts where you're riding on a horse. You can double jump and just throw a whole bunch of shurikens at everything. It was a great game. And besides the way it looked, I liked it because I was a Super Nintendo snob in a way. When I saw Genesis versions of games that were cross-platform, I was like, man, I bet it sounds like crap. And most of the time I was right. But Shinobi 3 soundtrack, and not just the score, but the sound effects, was absolutely stellar. And this is a game that won't set you back a minute. So this is, for anybody who wanted to start collecting Genesis games, these are great places to start because it's still pretty cost effective, or pretty accessible. Yeah. So Shinobi 3. You guys have any thoughts on Shinobi 3? Does it belong?
This is a great pick. This is a great pick.
Beautiful game.
So you talk about the graphics and just how great this game looks. This thing, dude.
Yes! Look at that. How is that possible?
It's crazy.
That thing. Nightmare fuel. Yeah, for sure. This is a great game. This is a fantastic. So again, I always do a little research before these, not because I had like 20 without even doing any research, but I'm like, hey, maybe there's one hidden in there that I missed. This wasn't necessarily one that I missed, but I'm saying that because every single list of the top whatever Sega Genesis games, this is up there in the top. I mean, it's definitely top 10 and pretty much every list that I've seen, if not top 5. So this is a great pick. This is
love that game.
I think it's another one of those games where if you look at it and you didn't know it was on a Genesis, it could pass for an arcade game.
Yeah,
at the time.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say too. It literally feels like you're bringing an arcade game home, which was a big deal at that time because in the 90s we were all looking for that style game to bring home because you can play a certain game and at home it's completely different. And that was the one. That was one. It's an adrenaline rush from start to finish.
Yeah.
Literally, the soundtrack pumps you up. There's so much going on, man. The move sets are awesome. Power moves. I mean, it's so cool. And it's Shinobi. It's a cool name.
Yeah. Kirk, what do you think about this one? Are you there? Are you actually there? I don't know if you're there. He's not there. He's still thinking. He looks very.
Yeah.
He's the thinking man statue.
You got like the little circle.
He's there.
Well, let's just zoom in on you.
There he goes. Amazing beard. Look at that.
Oh,
there he is.
He's moving. He's moving. Are you moving? Are you there, Kirk?
Is it my turn?
Well, no, it's no, we're not that far yet. It's your turn to give us your thoughts.
We'll come back in 30 minutes.
What did you think about Shinobi 3? Shinobi 3.
Yeah, Shinobi 3 is a fantastic game. Going back, I didn't have many Shinobis because I didn't have many Segas, and this is one of those staples. I had the more, crappier version, like Wrath of the Black Manta or something. But it's really awesome game. I love the power ups. I love the music, the graphics, the crouching, the moving, and then what I always thought was cool is like the picture you showed. That it's almost like ninjas in Contra. I mean, like there's like it's like what is that? That has nothing to do with
crazy.
Yeah, and it kind of like Ninja Gaiden too, or Gaiden, or whatever, So it's got like these weird like aliens and whatever at the end, but it was a fun game. I loved it. It's awesome.
Yeah. Good pick.
Thank you.
Devin, you're right. Black Manta was a decent game, and actually it was a very cheap game in the back in the day. That's why I had it. I remember it was extremely cheap at KB Toys. Matter of fact, I think I had 2 copies, but it was a fun game, and but it was no Shinobi.
Is it my turn yet?
It's still affordable today too. I think it's like $5 to $7.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. Well, good deal. That's a great pick. It's fantastic. I love where we're going there. I'm going to go to my TJ Jazzy Jeff.
Here we go.
This game, one of my favorite soundtracks of games. I think, at least when I was growing up, it was one of those games that I felt like I knew. Like I was onto some kind of secret, like other people didn't know this game. But over time, and actually really since doing this YouTube thing, like when we talk about this game, it always gets a lot of love. We have a good friend, another channel that just recently did a live playthrough of this game. It was a difficult game for sure. But I'm going with, and it was a unique platformer, but it was in a different kind of style than what we're used to. I'm going with Comics Zone. Comics Zone is going to be my pick. I love this game so much. If you haven't played it, you're literally in a comic, right? So it's a platformer, but it's not necessarily just left to right. I mean, it is in a way, but you're going from panel to panel, right? And you're dropping down panels, and right, you can go a different route this time. I do remember it being very difficult as a kid because some of just like the basic bad guys take like 15 hits to kill. Like it's like, dude, what in the this isn't a boss?
That game's still hard.
And I'm dying. Right? So, but dude, the music to this was so cool. The animation, obviously, with it being the whole, flipping through the panels. But again, it was a game that I thought that I only knew. I thought I was onto this little secret or whatever of it. But I also love a good pun. And the guy's name, you're going through a comic book, the guy's name is Sketch Turner. Sketch Turner, which is just a great little pun, play on words. Anyway, I'm going to go with Comic Zone for my TJ Jazzy Jeff. Now, again, it's one that I love this game so much, but it's my number 3. But, hey, in the top 4, it's hard to narrow down. I've got like a list of 20, 25 right here. Anyway, what you guys think about Comic Zone?
That is a great pick.
Couple of names into a hat, and I was going to pick this one 4 times for you. This one and the other one you mentioned a couple weeks ago that didn't belong in the show.
The show. That's what he was going to say, people.
The show there.
And
Steve, let's go. I know you were saying something.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, And find me another game that's more peak Sega of the 90s, right?
Yeah.
Like thinking
Yeah.
outside the box like that. It's kind of a brawler, or not a brawler, a beat 'em up, but you're advancing from panel to panel of a storyboard. It's kind of a choose your own adventure book. The art style was second to none. The sprites were big. It was such an outside the box concept, hard as nails, but it was like quintessential. Whether you like the game or not, it sums up what Sega was to me in the 90s at its most creative. I think it was a great pick.
Yeah. So Kevin right here just said, yeah, I would have loved to see a sequel. I mean, it would be cool for that to be a series.
Sequel would be amazing.
Amazing. I love this. Dallas says, Comic Zone made me want to have a pet ferret because Mom said pet rats were not allowed.
You know what? It's never too late. Live your dream.
There you go.
Manny, you like Comic Zone?
I love Comic Zone. That's one of those games. That was like my Ghouls and Ghosts right there. It was so hard. It was so frustrating, dude. I was like, okay, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to play this game. I'm going to beat it. It just did not happen. I'd sit that I'm getting beat on. There's rats everywhere. I mean, what is going on? I'm jumping from page to page. The colors, man. The colors really pop. It would literally light up the whole room. Absolutely stunning game. Beautiful game. The soundtrack is cool on that one too, by the way. I mean, it's cool. The way the guy, like, what was his name? Sketch? The way he's just kind of like, the way he, I don't know, he's just like ready to fight. Like he had like his whole little pose, like crane style, you know? And it was just a cool game, man. I love it. It was very creative. I think like Saturn Steve said, peak Sega. It really showed what the Genesis was capable of and how great Sega really was, how underappreciated they were, because they were putting out some great games. And a lot of people don't really know Comic Zone. So it's, you know what I mean? Like us older guys do, but you know, there's a lot of people that are like, what's Comic Zone?
We got a good friend YouTube channel called Up Down Select. They just did a playthrough of Comic Zone. So
nice.
To see them, you know, go through that live and react to it and commentary and stuff. Go check them out. Good friend Rad Bash Gaming just joined Up Down Select. Check them out or go check that game out. Go figure it out how you can find it. But I highly suggest.
That's cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Comics Geek says graphically it was amazing, though it looks better on a CRT. So that's the thing. So that's I right now only have HD. Whoa, there goes Kirk. HD TV, and I'm looking for a CRT, which I know I can find easy. I can just go on Marketplace.
Come to my basement. I've got 5 of them.
Yeah, I need one. So because I want to play these games, you know, like GoldenEye and stuff on 64.
Huge difference. Huge difference.
Yeah, and that's what I've heard. So
if you can find one with a VCR, perfect.
There you go.
Perfect.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you. You're there, Kirk.
Hey guys, can you hear me? I'm on set. Hey, so look,
there it is. The captain's back.
Now, if you guys weren't here before, I have guys working out on the internet out front. My wife finally got home and her hotspot is working, so I think we'll be fairly decent. So,
shout out to the wife.
Thank you, wife.
Shout him. Nothing without him.
All right. So So thanks to that. Thank you guys for hanging out and not jumping off. Like this sucks. He keeps going. But you're not here for me anyways. You're here for the guys at the bottom. Thanks.
Hey, we're here for you guys.
Yeah, you might be here for us. Thank you so much. Honestly, thank you so much. But Comic Zone is what I was going to say is I had 2 or 3 games pegged out for you, Andy, for sure. This is one of them. Not sure where you were going to put it because you've mentioned it so many times nostalgically of like creative what it does in the game. I love how it jumps from like not just page to page, but from block to block,
panel to panel,
it's set up and that's cool. And you can kind of pick different blocks to go to. It's not open world, but you can go back into other blocks and go forward. It's a really cool game. I was actually watching. I don't remember who it was. Like 3 days ago, play this game, and they were like, "This was Rad Bash was playing it like 3 or 4 days ago, and it was the worst."
Yeah, Up Down Select.
He was like, "This is the worst game I've ever seen." Yeah. So.
Yeah.
All right, so it's my turn.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, we're up to you now. What you got?
Yeah, I hopefully I'll stay in. Hopefully the internet will carry us to get us to the finish end. All right, so So my last game, obviously, Strider. It's kind of a cross-platform. This one, it was a launch title. It's one of the best games for the Genesis as a port from the arcade side. But I'm going with the original Golden Axe
Nice.
as my
Yep.
number 3.
Woo.
I love this game. You fight Death Adder. This is a much more nostalgic pick than a great game. It's a very fun game. Don't get me wrong, but I've gone back and played it. It necessarily doesn't hold up. And look, and Kevin, the game you're mentioning there is another one of those that was definitely something that is on my list, and I played. But both of those games don't hold up very well. They're very hard in the sense that there's only a few levels, but you die quite a bit, and it's just a fun game though. It's nostalgia for me. The little elves stealing the magic, the dragons, and whatever that one being is that swings the tail. I always like picking the gnome. I don't know, maybe because of the beard, or not the gnome, but the dwarf guy, and with the actual axe. And if I'm being honest, this game has gotten better in the future. Like the Revenge of Death Adder was a cool game. Golden Axe 2 was a fun game. I love this game a lot. When I think of the Genesis, it brings me right back to this one, and obviously the one Kevin has in the chat. So, really, really, really good game. I love this game a lot. So I'm going my number 3, Golden Axe.
Yeah, that is a fantastic. You took it. This is my first Benjamin
Amazing
off
pick.
the board. You took a first Benjamin off the board. Now
I'll say this: I've always wanted a few cabinets at my house, and this would probably won't be on a short list of one I would look for. At least to have in my house to play Golden Axe. I love this game.
So,
Nice.
man, if
What do
you
you
ever
got?
see one for $150, don't walk away from it.
You know, I have too. I have actually. I've had 3 of those bad boys. I like them because they're in the smaller cabinets, so they don't take up a lot of space.
Man.
So I'll definitely keep an eye out for you guys. I know with shipping company, we can get it out there. Maybe I'll take it out there myself.
That's awesome.
Content.
Yeah.
There we go.
Road Preacher says it's sort of Vermilion coming. I don't know. Maybe say to the end.
Yeah. Nice. All right, man. Well, that was our first half of the mountain. Golden Axe is a fantastic way to end the first half of the mountain. We're going to move now. We're going to take a couple minutes. We got a couple commercials that we want to, or different things we want to plug. The first one, Kirk, that we are going to talk about is I always suck at pointing because it's mirrored. We're going to talk about our friends over at Culture Box. There's the Culture Box up right above Gene Simmons on my screen. We've got some good friends over there at Culture Box. They're a group of Christian YouTubers here that we're a part of. We got quite a few channels in there, and we're going to give a shout out because he's here in the chat right now. I think it might be cool to give a shout out, and I'm stalling because I'm trying to scroll and find this thing. I've got it in here. Tell them who I'm about to shout out, Kirk, while I'm looking for this thing.
Geek Devotions. Give a holler.
All right, here we go. Geek Devotions.
He is the inspo to this whole thing.
Check it out.
Geek Devotions is a collaboration of devoted geeks that are devoted to letting people know that they are loved. They produce a weekly geek culture infused devotional, their podcast content, and written articles, all designed to encourage and challenge people in the geek community, bridging the gap between their faith and their geekdoms. Find all their content at geekdevotions.com.
There you go. Go give them a shout out. Tell them we sent you. They've got fantastic content out there. Lots of fun live feeds and stuff that they do. Really, really great people here.
Hey, I got to shout this out though. Seriously, guys, and moves us. It's a great segue. This weekend, we are going to be out in Gonzales, Louisiana. I'm flying in tomorrow night down to Louisiana. Last weekend, Andy was covering for us at Pelican, which was in Denham Springs, Louisiana. But next weekend, we're going to be with Davey Lusko. I'm sure he'll pop in the chat sometime tonight with his amazing parents, Dave and Rhonda. and they lead one of the biggest video game conventions in the Louisiana, at least in the southeast of Louisiana, and they have a part of a couple other conventions allowed us to come into the convention because Andy and I are youth pastors. We are pastors at heart. Our love for video games and movies and TV just ties us in as being good friends and having a cool community. But our real love is the fact that both Andy and I are over 13 years sober. We've been saved, we've been delivered, and we've gone on a mission to kind of help others like us. And others like us are actually at the conventions. And the very first person that I ever seen kind of preaching and talking about geeky things was Dallas and his wife Celeste, Geek Devotions. I connected with them and realized that they were in Louisiana. And one of the things they've always shared, and I share it all the time, was what inspired them, which ended up being some of our inspiration, was they were out in line about to go into a big convention. And outside that building, there were other Christians picketing with signs saying you shouldn't go in, shouldn't go do, and all that kind of thing. And that inspired him, said, maybe I shouldn't be here. Maybe I should. What should I do about it? And it pushed him to go and start his own ministry. And now they're on the way to a 501c. And we go into conventions and hang out, be a part of the community. But we try and ask and see if the person that holds the convention will allow us to have a sermon series, a nerd church, if you will, for the people there. Our next nerd church is going to be on Sonic and Shadow and Knuckles, because Louisiana RetroCon is kind of hosting a bunch of the Sonic people. So this weekend, Gonzalez, the Lamar Dixon, we're going to be doing Nerd Church, and we're actually the MCs. We're going to be at all the booths. We're going to be live all weekend. Come and check it out. It's amazing. It's going to be a good time, and Keith's going to be around. Pac-Man Case, like you mentioned earlier, is going to be there. A couple other guys hanging out. If you're there, come find us. Let's film. Let's take a picture, and we'll shout you guys out. I cannot wait.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun time. Very excited for that. What else do we have, Kirk, to show? We actually
have one more thing for sure, and that's some amazing coffee.
Yeah. So we, believe it or not, have an official coffee sponsor. Sponsor is a loose term. We have a promo code, so I guess it's a sponsor. We have the official coffee of the Rushmore Show, Village Coffee. Check it. Oh,
before you do that, I just want to say hello. We got a bunch of new people popping in. Arkansas Picker, hello. Thanks for coming back. Wolffellow, thanks for being here.
Hey.
And we'll get to you guys in a minute. Oh, and Papa and Baby Bear. Man, we love all you guys. I'm scrolling up. Oh, and Prime. I knew I saw somebody else. Prime 1, thank you for being here. We appreciate you guys. Let's check out the coffee.
Yeah, let's check it out. Check out Village Coffee.
Let's face it, at-home coffee can be pretty stale. Coffee at home doesn't have to be boring. The Village Coffee is here to deliver the flavor. The Village Coffee roasts coffee every week and sells online. Go to villagebeans.com to order your coffee today and use discount code Rushmore for free shipping.
There you go. You can check them out. They got so many great things out there. He will ship to you, okay? He will ship it to you. It's a must-have in my house. Kirk, I know you're looking forward to coming here, obviously for the con and stuff, but also for the coffee.
I'm going to do one more quick shout. The first time, well, it's actually the second because it happened earlier when I was kind of glitching out. I was freaked, because our ministry's called Reboot. I got a reboot. But I do want to shout out, thank you everybody out there. I mean, it has been an absolute blast. We just broke 1,100 subs, and we hit the 3,000 watch hours, which allows us to do some fun things like have super chats and whatever. Those super chats, listen, guys, we're not here to make a nickel. But this hobby here is, it's not free. We pay for the StreamYard. We pay for all that. We all have real jobs, just letting you know. And what would be really awesome would be to help pay for just the simple things so that we can go into these conventions and do some real work, hanging out with our friends. I'm flying in tomorrow and hanging out with Andy. And so there are some things out there, that's some memberships. We're going to do some extras. It just happened yesterday morning, so it's really on the cusp. We had our first super chat earlier today and our first memberships. So welcome to all those people. And as soon as the merch bar opens, we have a ton of cool nerdy church, nerdy nostalgia, Rushmore stuff that you guys can go and find and help support if you'd like. But if you don't, we still love you. It isn't about the money. It isn't about a nickel. What it is about is the community, and we love you guys. We thank you for being here, and we thank you for your prayers. Because, listen, I'm going to tell you, and my guys, Pick and Preacher, as well as my guy, Geek Devotions, will tell you, a Christian pop culture, anything, they don't mix well, and we get a lot of flack, and that's okay. We're here to take it, and we just know that there's somebody out there that is waiting to hear a message that really talks to them through a video game, because that's all they've ever loved. And we're going to be the guys to do it, and we're just going to give all the glory to Jesus, because it isn't us. Andy, you're how many years sober? 11, 10?
8, 9, somewhere around there. Yeah,
Okay,
8,
so
9.
8, 9. I on May 30th, I will make 14 years. My wife will be 14 years in 3 weeks after that, and shortly after that, we got plugged into a church. So with that being said, prior to that, I was that guy out there doing all those things. So yeah, man, I love it. Yeah,
That's incredible. Congratulations, guys.
so
Thank you, man.
look,
That's a
honestly,
tough mountain to conquer.
nothing to pat me on the back or Andy on the back. It literally is just something that we felt called towards. We both are teachers. We're both pastors, and we're like, how can we just have some fun and use the internet to kind of just maybe change somebody's life? And honestly, it's been the biggest blast we've ever had. 23 people hanging out with us. We never thought that. And
It's a good crowd.
just one person hanging out with us is amazing. But we appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much. Let's jump into the second half of this thing and get going. So,
Yeah.
Manny, you're up.
Let's do it.
Link. We're at Link, and Zelda's probably going to be a weird pick in this one. So, Link, who are you going to go with?
All right, so what are we on, number 2?
Yeah, number 2.
Now, this one was a tough one. I'm still kind of on the fence here. I don't know what to do, man. I'm a huge Sonic fan, but I don't know if he's going to make the list, guys. I don't know. I mean, he should, right? It only sounds right. But you know what, guys? I'm going to have to go. Sonic, I love you, man. But I'm going to have to go Streets of Rage. I had to go Streets of Rage 1. That was going to be my mountain. That was going to be my number 1. But I'm going to go Streets of Rage. Now, Streets of Rage is just that game.
Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 7?
Oh no, we're going the first one. I'll go in the first one.
Perfect. So tell us about it.
So Streets of Rage, now we all know it's iconic. It's a beautiful game to play. It's a beautiful game to look at. There's so much going on. I mean, you can pick up food off the floor and eat it. It's awesome, man. You can call the police in. You know, they're gonna bomb the whole city right there and clean up the streets. Well, at least help you clean up the streets. But it's a great soundtrack. The character selection is awesome. You know, it's only 3, but I love the movesets. I love everything about it. But the thing with Streets of Rage 1 now, on a personal level, it's one of my favorite games because it's a game that I played a lot with my dad. Now, my dad is the type where, he was more into like arcade games and stuff. But when he would play video games at home, oh man, he would get real bad migraines, like the colors, all that stuff. It would mess him up, and it would maybe like within 5 minutes, and he'd have to go, I can't play no more. But for some reason, when he would play Streets of Rage with me, we would play through pretty much the whole thing. And I know his head would be hurting. I know it would be killing him, but he would stick through it, man. And we'd play for like a good hour and a half, almost 2 hours. And so that game's really special to me. Like I said, it was really hard not to put it on my number 1, but definitely my number 2. Definitely my number 2 because of my dad.
Yeah, no, I love that. See, and here's the deal. You said it. This is what the Rushmore is all about. Because we could easily just be a podcast where we're going to list off what the critics say are the top 4. And I do believe Streets of Rage usually critically, one of the top ones. But the fact that having that nostalgia moment with your dad playing it, that makes That's what Rushmore's all about, right? Kirk,
Oh yeah.
you've shared it plenty of times in all kinds of Rushmores we've done, memories with your dad, right? And like how that bumps things up. The game might not be as good as your 3 or your 4 even, or even some of your Benjamins, but that elevates it. So I love that. I love that. That's a great pick. Obviously, Streets of Rage.
Oh
We
yeah.
can talk about that. That's
Incredible.
a fantastic game. They said
Incredible.
in the comments here, the soundtrack. I mean, it's just
everything about that game was great. That's why it was so hard not to pick Sonic, because like I said, Sonic 2 was my game. I love this game, and my dad always wanted to play it with me, but it would move so fast he couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, well, let's put on something we could play, and it would be Streets of Rage. He loved it. He loved the music. He loved the characters.
Yeah.
And he wanted to play it. He wanted to beat it, So
I love it.
Good memories, man. Good memories. Early memories.
By the way, just real quick, Steve, did you use your Earthworm Jim phone to give Arkansas Picker a call? Is that what happened?
Nope. Somebody's got some wind.
Close the window.
Somebody's passing gas.
Oh, that's anyway.
That bean burrito.
Maybe it's from all the food you picked up off the floor. It's giving you gas. Who knows what's happening?
I was saying because Steve made the joke about Earthworm Jim being his ringtone for Arkansas Picker. I was like,
oh, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, like his ears must have been tickling.
Yeah. and his text tone is groovy.
Groovy. I love it, man. What's up, Arkansas Picker?
Hey, buddy. Glad you could join us. I am having some technical difficulties.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
can you guys hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Yeah, you're coming through clear. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, then,
hear you great.
All right.
So I'll jump in. Streets of Rage, fantastic game, fantastic pick. Knew it was going to be on somebody's mount today. Streets of Rage 1. All of them are on my list of Benjamins. Streets of Rage 1 is not the very highest for me. This has no nostalgia for me. This game has zero nostalgia. I never played it. Well, I mean, I don't remember playing it like with Kevin or a friend or whatever. This game to me was just something really cool that I played later. Probably emulator, played it on one of these things. But it's a fantastic game. So I applaud this pick. But it just didn't have anything nostalgia for me to throw in the top 4. But it was a Benjamin for me taken.
Yeah. Good pick, man.
Gotcha.
Yeah, love me some Streets of Rage. I knew Manny was going to pick it. And I almost picked TMNT Hyperstone Heist.
That was on my list, too.
It's the better game. But I don't know. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. We'll see. Hey! Tammy and Javi, PNX. Hey, guys.
Hey, PNX World.
Love those guys.
Yeah,
so
welcome, guys.
More homies that are neighbors. We've got so many neighbors out here. Maybe I shouldn't put their business out there, but they live close to us. And
nice.
Steve Craig Retro Games does also. So one of these days, I've been thinking about putting together just like a local thing where we all just get together.
So Steve, you ever go to the CCS?
Oh, yeah. I missed this past weekend. I wanted to go, but I didn't make it.
I've only drove past it. I've never gone, and I've always wanted to stop in and check it out. I can always get the flyers, but I mean, that's not – I'm probably closer to that than you are.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it takes me a good hour, depending on what 285 does. But Charlie, the guy that runs that, is such a good dude. And I finally got a chance to go at the end of December. And, I mean, he goes all out. Like, it is very impressive. It's an indoor
You have to let me know next time you go rolling over there. Maybe we'll meet up.
Sure will. Absolutely.
Nice.
Oh, show. Okay, am I up?
Yes, it is you.
I'm too far away. I'm all the way out here.
But all right. So this is where it gets really tough. I don't know about you guys, but for me, now I'm at the point where it's almost a Sophie's choice, where I'm going, I don't know how to pick between these games. So I just grabbed the first one of the 2 that I had in the slot. And I picked Castlevania Bloodlines.
There you go.
Because let's face it, a top 4 at this era would not be complete without something from Konami. So Castlevania Bloodlines took the list. I loved Castlevania my whole life as a kid, playing the NES games. I love Super Castlevania 4. But this took that classic Castlevania formula and just kind of cranked it up and did something totally not different, but just very unique. It was very unique to me as a Castlevania game. And obviously the graphics, the sound, all of that was absolutely stellar, but it's never that I know of been released on anything else. I could be wrong about that. Feel free to correct me if I am, but it's one that it just, I don't know. You know what I said earlier about Genesis games that did things I did not think that Genesis could do and sounded ways that I didn't think Genesis could sound? This game did all that. It is a little bit pricier if you want to collect it, but it's absolutely worth it. Maybe the best Castlevania game of that era. Before Symphony of the Night. That's a whole other thing. But that's my pick.
So this is a hot
Great
take.
pick.
Kevin. Castlevania Bloodlines greater than Castlevania 4. I love both of them. I'm leaning on 4. I'm going to go 4 with that one.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So
this is a great pick. This is probably my number 5. If I would have moved something off, this was the what we're coming on. This is my number 1 Benjamin off the list. Fantastic game. So much fun. This game is awesome. And when I first got the emulator, so my son, shameless plug, my son's channel, he's going through all the old games, playing them for the first time. And one of the first games that I wanted to play was kind of go and roll through a bunch of the Castlevanias. We had Mad Belmont on not long back, and it reminded me of a bunch of them. I was like, let me go play.
Yes.
And this is the one, Genesis one, you know, and I was like, oh, I'm going to go play Bloodlines because that is totally different. So it's on this little system here that I picked up, and it's a fun game, man. That's a really fun game. And I love what I think PNX said it. Castlevania games always have great music.
Oh.
Dude, what level of like production that they did in just the music, right? It is insane how good Castlevania music is. And so really cool.
Yeah, it does sound amazing. Like, how do you hype up that music like that?
Look at that.
Oh, check them out.
Castlevania music. I always have been. Right?
Wow.
Where am I? Right?
Wow, dude.
With the record, the vinyl.
That's amazing.
This is my jam. I love me some Castlevania. Although I'm a little weird, I think in that era, Dracula X on Super Nintendo is actually my favorite out of all of them. And people just roast me for that, and I couldn't care less. Yeah, always great music. Absolutely. Who said that? PNX? It figures. That's why we love them.
It's like, how do you get like horror music like that and then just crank it up? Like, it's not even spooky. It's just awesome.
Look,
Symphony of the Night is probably my
you guys would love to connect with Kevin. Look at, I just got the same vinyl for Christmas.
Oh,
we say it every
shout out to Kevin for the great gift.
It's so good.
We say it every week. Kevin needs a YouTube channel.
Dude,
Kevin,
needs
he's got a channel, but
channel.
he needs content.
He's been on our channel once. It was an awesome show. See, just a heads up, Steve and Manny. Kevin was my best friend 7th, 8th, 9th grade.
Got it.
Like I was at his house, and back in 7th, 8th, 9th grade, he had the biggest video game collection I ever seen in person. It was crazy.
There's always that one friend. Always that one friend.
Kevin, you're gonna brain rot your whole life away playing those dang games. But these were fun, man. We reconnected about 3 years ago, 2-3 years ago. And man, I just love having him here. He knows so much about games. It's crazy.
That's so cool that you still have that connection too. Like,
That's super
I'm lucky
cool.
The same way, like the guys I grew up with since we were 3rd, 4th, 5th grade and on. Like we're all still in the chat right now. They are supposed to be joining the show if they get around to it. But same thing. Like we all stole each other's stuff. We still got it. You know, it's just absolutely crappy friends to each other. And 30 years later, we're still crappy friends to each other.
Yeah.
You guys do that long-term borrowing
That's it.
for a whole summer?
Absolutely, dude. Like I think still I have a Super Nintendo game that still has my buddy Jeffrey's name written on it. And like one of them, I had something like I marked it out in Sharpie. Like that didn't fool anybody.
Yeah.
I was like, it's mine now, sucker. And anyway, I still got it. So.
One day he's gonna remember. He's like, hey, what happened to that game? Like, I'm looking for you, man.
He knows, whatever.
I think Poetically Christian Gamer, he's going to be on the show next week, by the way, along with my buddy Jag. We're going to do our top 4 vicariously living through games. So like, what's the things that you can do in a video game that you wish you could do in real life? Like have extra lives or whatever. That's going to be fun. But I think he is a couple minutes behind because he's posting stuff and we're like on the next game sometimes. So, hey, poetically, we love you, man. And yeah, maybe something like that will come up soon, but we'll see. Andy,
that's really cool.
You're up.
All right. So this one, I mean, could potentially be controversial, not because it's a controversial pick, but because
it's a Pokemon.
It's Pokemon Snap. No, it's not. No. So
Pokemon.
It's not that. No, I'm gonna go. So this is somebody had to mention this franchise and put it on the list. I'm gonna go to the Sonic franchise, but I may not go to the one that I guess everybody's gonna jump to.
Okay.
This one I played more of, and I have more nostalgia tied to it. And I'm sure a lot of people like this one, right? But I'm going 1994 Sonic and Knuckles. Sonic and Knuckles for the Genesis was my favorite one for obvious reasons. You can also play as Knuckles, which is he just was the cooler character in my opinion, at the time. But the music to any Sonic game, I would put it up there with any other game.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's up there with the Marios. It's up there with the like as far as iconic, right? I mean, going through the entire franchise, you go all the way up through any game system that Sonic's been on. The new games, they're all just dynamite music, right? But Sonic and Knuckles, man, there was just something about this game that drew me more to it. I remember the levels in the forest where you're jumping on the mushrooms and stuff, just the way that stuff reacted and looked and everything. The cover art, we're going to talk about cover art. This was a super cool, very simple, but like really cool. I almost had like a Batman and Robin kind of look to it. It was dark, but yeah. So I'm going Sonic and Knuckles. I know that a lot of people would probably, I think that and again, it may be mentioned, so it's okay if I say it here. A lot of people are going to go to Sonic 2 is probably, up there with
like me.
The tops. and it's a great game. I'm not gonna deny that. It's a fantastic game.
Mm-hmm.
But for my nostalgia, it was always Sonic and Knuckles. Sonic and Knuckles is the way that I'm going to go for my link. This is, this is one of the greatest franchises of all time for sure, and obviously still going strong, right?
Yeah.
The movie's out, all that.
Great movie too. I liked it.
It's nostalgic for sure. It was a little later in the vibe, obviously, in the Genesis stretch because it was the third one. But many people go to that one or two. Actually, most people go to two that I've seen. But online, almost everything that I saw had this one ahead of it. But when you ask or when you talk to people or when I watch other videos, right, of like actual collectors or gamers, it seemed like most of them would go to the 2 route. And I would myself. But this is a great game. And just shameless kind of SEO throw out there, the movie was freaking awesome. And this is one of the first times that I've ever thought that the movies are getting better 1, 2, 3. Like like the third one is better than the second. The second was better than the first, in my opinion. So good pick, man. I love it. And man, I knew somebody was going to pick Sonic. I didn't expect it to be this long down the road. But yeah, cool.
Yeah,
good job.
I'm surprised that it didn't.
That is a good pick.
I love Sonic and Knuckles. Sonic 2, I think I'm in that camp too. Probably would be my pick, but Sonic and Knuckles was fantastic. I was gonna say something about Sonic and Knuckles and Sonic 3, and I completely forgot. But great pick. I'm glad one of us put it up there.
Yeah, it's listen. You give me Sonic 2, and I'm gonna play it all the time. I'm never gonna complain about playing that game. It is an amazing game.
Right.
But for my nostalgia, what I probably played more of was.
And
Sonic.
I think that's the cool thing about how subjective this is, right? Like, it's all about where you were, what your memory is that connects you to that, right? I'm right there with Manny. I've got, certain things that kind of take me back to Dad, and that's really, really cool. Yeah. The game may be absolute trash, but classic example, Road Blasters on the arcade. It's not a great game, but my dad and I used to play that after every single soccer game. with at a Dairy Queen with a dipped cone, and I love that game to this day because of it. So it's all about the memory that connects you to that, and whatever triggers your nostalgia. It's what makes it special.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
So good.
Well said.
So good.
All right, Kirk, give us the last link on our list today. The final
last link. We're gonna get a kind of techno link. We're gonna go to space. We're gonna tie into Metroid and bring in a Sega CD game, which is crazy. But this game didn't come out for Sega CD because it got changed back to the Genesis. And although the bad guy in Metroid's named Mother Brain, Mother Brain's also in this one. It's Phantasy Star 4, and I am slamming down my favorite RPG of the console, Phantasy Star 4. I love RPGs. It's not mistaken. Poetically, Christian Gamer said Kirk's going to go with the RPG. Absolutely, this is my favorite one. I love that it's kind of set in like a fantasy medieval style with this weird futuristic Tron vibe. You got all these really combo hits, and the manga. The only thing that I really have that kind of is like it is this one, because I don't have a Genesis, so I have this Japanese version of Phantasy Star Online 1 and 2 for the GameCube. But yeah, it's just a really cool game. Francisco from Retro Rewind, he played through it about 5 months ago. I was watching. He's on our Culture Box in this, and man, I loved watching him play that game. This game is so fun. I love the style, how the guys are all down at the bottom and they're kind of attacking forward. It's just a different thing. Andy doesn't like anything turn-based, but so he's probably going to crap on this one. But this is one of the best. This is one of the best RPGs out there if you like that. So I'm going with that one. Yeah, retailing $100 right out the jump. That was crazy.
That's big money.
Yep, sure was.
Yeah, all I'm saying, I'm just gonna pull this up. You guys had your comments. I'm gonna add something here in a minute. Anybody, any thoughts on this game?
I can't say anything on it because I'm ashamed to say I've never played it, man. I'm not real big on RPGs, but I have played the one on Dreamcast, but I haven't played the Phantasy Star on Sega. Sorry, on the Genesis. So I got to skip this one, guys. I'm sorry.
All I'm saying is that you don't see a guy like this and take turns.
Oh my gosh!
Do you know what I mean? That guy's not thinking politely like, "Oh wait, it's your turn to attack now."
That's a rough day right there.
Saying, I'm just, I mean, I don't know. Anyway, I don't. So not an RPG guy.
Well, can I just comment to that? The style of a turn-based game kind of derived itself way back from board games, but moved into the text-based games. Yeah. And the software wasn't there to allow these crazy graphics, music, and all the attack at the same time. It was going to slow it down. So they went to a turn-based to bring it to what it was. And people fell in love with it. So it stuck as a staple of the scene. But then, as you can see, like in Final Fantasy, it's completely rolled its way away from that. And it's now with the technology that we have now, being more of an action-adventure role-playing game. But I love the turn-based as a little kid, somebody that loved fantasy, not just Phantasy Star like this, but like F fantasy, right? Like Conan and stuff like that. I loved playing these games and getting immersed into these worlds that weren't really real. And I love the idea of just building your character. And that's what drew me in originally. And as a younger kid, turn-based games made these really hard games easy because it gave you enough time to think of your next move. When you get older and play these ones that they're going now, dude, some of these games, but my children and our children, they're way better at games than we are, right? And like because they just started with this stuff. But yeah, I love it. It's my kind of deal. If I want to just settle down and play a game, I will play a game like this for an hour a night, for 3 years. I mean, like, whatever. Let's see if we can get another whatever. And that's just it. So I love it.
Yeah, I think, turn-based too, like, it gave you so many more options, especially back in the 8-bit era where you had 2 buttons, right, and a D-pad. And having a turn-based element gave you suddenly more than just 2 things you could do, and it also added a layer of strategy to it. So kind of got a So good pick.
So Fantasy Star 4 is going to be my link. And
right.
now we're to the George. The George, our number
Georgie?
one, our best Genesis game of all time. And there's only one real answer, and it hasn't been mentioned yet tonight. So here we go.
Oh,
Manny, you're up.
all right, guys. So is this going to be the Tom Brady of the bunch right here?
No.
The Drew Brees, because I am a huge Tom Brady fan. I'm a massive Tom Brady fan. I've been forever, man. And guys, I don't know if anybody else is going to pick it. I really doubt it. But my number one, it's just everyone's going to think I'm crazy. But this game was incredible. It was awesome. I loved everything about it. Hey, hold on, where are my notes at? Here we go. Bear with me. Here we go, guys. I hope you guys are ready. Hold on to your seats because I'm going Shadow Dancer. Now, if you guys haven't played The Secret of Shinobi, it's such a crazy game. It's just it's not really it's part of Shinobi, but then it's not really Shinobi, but it is Shinobi. I don't know. It's a whole thing. But if you ever played the arcade game compared to the Genesis game, they're really different. And it's one of those games where the arcade game, it just, I don't know, it was good, but for some reason the Genesis had a little more leverage for me for some reason. I don't know what it was. Maybe just the gameplay style, but that was a game that I really enjoyed. I really like. To this day, I love that game. That's one of those games that I could put on at any time, and I'm gonna play through it, man. I love that game. The soundtrack is great. The level design is great. The background, and it's one of those games. This game was released. The arcade came out in '89. This Genesis game was released in 1990. So for them to be pushing out games like that with those kind of graphics, that kind of gameplay in 1990, the early 90s, is insane. It's like Strider. It looks so good. It played so good. But man, to see something like that back in the day was insane, especially on your console. You had a dog that was a sidekick. I think his name was, I had to write it down. Yamato was his name. So you can imagine if you guys grew up in the 90s, the 80s and 90s, there was a huge ninja craze. Everybody was about ninjas. Ninjas were everywhere. We even had Beverly Hills Ninja. And it's a great movie, man. Haru. But we had 3 ninjas, 3 ninjas at Magic Mountain or whatever, Kickback at Magic Mountain or something. We had surfing ninjas, we had Ninja Turtles, I should have said. But yeah, it's insane, man. So it was a cool crave. I said you had the dog, you could sick the dog on people, he could attack them, and if he took too much damage, he would turn into a puppy. And the storyline was really cool too. The story was different than the arcade game. The arcade game, he was I believe it was Shinobi's son. I think his name was oh god, I can't remember his name. I thought I wrote it down somewhere. But the original, so Shinobi, it's not Shinobi. I keep saying Shinobi, but it's a part of Shinobi. So Joe Masahi was his name or something like that. Musashi. And yeah, Musashi. So he went to Japan, he was retired and blah, blah, blah. His student got killed. His name was Kato or Kyato or something like that. He had to come back and avenge his death. And his dog actually belonged to Kato. And it just goes from there. So they're just trying to avenge his death, trying to clean up the streets of New York, man. And I don't know, it's just a cool story. And just really within that time, I was so into beat 'em ups and action games. That's all I ever wanted to play. And that game, for some reason, drew me in. I loved everything about it. Like I said, it played like Shinobi, but it wasn't really Shinobi. It had like its own little look to it. Even his outfit was different. So that's the one I'm going with, guys. If you guys have never played Shadow Dancer, try it out. It's an amazing game.
All right.
Woo! Forgot to breathe.
Man.
My wife's like, breathe.
I've never played Shadow Dancer. And I'm a huge Shinobi fan. So now I've got one that I gotta go find.
It's amazing.
And try out.
It's an amazing game.
Yeah. If it sucks,
I've not
I'm gonna
played
build
this,
it for
but
it.
I was afraid you picked a dancing game.
I love
was
this.
afraid when I heard the name.
It sounds like a dancing game. Yeah.
No, he already picked a dancing game. That was Moonwalker. So
there we go.
we haven't had 2 dancing games on the show at once. And actually, I don't think we've had any, to be honest. But hey, so great pick. This game was so cool. What I loved about this, I remember as a kid, very, very vividly, like I collected GI Joes, and they had several animals in the GI Joe world. I remember like turning like Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes, and I had the wolf character, and I made him like Shinobi from this game. I remember that
That's awesome.
very vividly.
That is cool.
Like kind of, just being a kid, But this game is really cool. And all the Shinobis are awesome. But this brought that awesome little extra to it with the dog. And I appreciate this. Andy, did you play this one?
No, I didn't. So I played, Shinobi, but this one I don't remember. And again, I'm looking up gameplays. It looks very much. I mean, it's right in line with the Shinobi game. So, but yeah, no real experience here to speak.
Yeah, it's basically like a Rolling Thunder clone. They just upped it up a little bit.
I apologetically, I got a text from a good friend of mine. Something happened to his son. And so I was reading that. And when I looked up, as you were explaining it, I was like, is he talking about Rolling Thunder? And then I was like, oh, no. He said the dog. Okay. Yeah, that's the dog.
Later,
I know where he's talking.
Thanks for hanging out.
Bryce, and I'll see you.
See you, Bryce.
You got a live sometime tonight or tomorrow morning or every day. We'll see you next time you're on, man. Love you, brother. So, awesome, man. I love this thing.
All right. So we're now Saturn Steve. You're going to give us Steve, number one game of all time.
Well, it got me thrown for a curveball because my George was Phantasy Star 4.
That's what I'm talking about.
Telling you, what a way to do me dirty. And dude, it was so hard for me not to chip in with comments because you nailed it. Like, there are a lot of so whether you like fantasy games, whether you like, with a kind of sword and shield Conan style, which I do, but Phantasy Star was built totally different because you had that sort of. This is before kind of post-apocalyptic kind of cyberpunk things were kind of everywhere. This did it totally differently, and the themes of the game were a little bit more mature than something you would have had in even a Final Fantasy game at the time, which like it deals with death and loss and things like that. They were pretty heavy, and it did a really good job of building those characters in a way that you felt connected to them. So it's a gut punch when things happen, right? This is way before Final Fantasy VII, and that sort of thing. So it was great. The combat was fun. You had combo systems for the combat. The soundtrack. I'm a hard critic of Genesis sound. Okay, it was one of the most off-putting things to me as a kid. I've come to love it in its own way. But every game that I put on this list has had fantastic music. So much so that I'm telling you, it is no joke how good that music is. And Andy wasn't joking. Like, can you see this dude right there? Look at that guy.
Imagine him saying, "Now it's your turn." I mean, like, what? That's not even a thing.
The way I imagine it is he's going, okay, that's fine. Now it's my turn. I'm going to go. Okay? Now you can go. Go on. It's my turn now.
Hey, Steve. Hey, look at this. I got those too.
Yeah, of course he does.
See? Good man. I need to get Phantasy Star 3. I don't know why I didn't, but Phantasy Star 3 was the kind of the weaker link in the series to me. But 4, and Kirk was right. $90. People are like, video games is too expensive. They didn't used to cost no $70. Y'all are just being memory hold. This game was huge when it came out. Was a 32 meg game, $90. Same thing with Chrono Trigger. It was absolutely huge. And that was very expensive from a production and manufacturer standpoint.
That's Neo Geo about it.
Yeah, no kidding. 330 mega, baby.
Another story with Kevin. There was a place, we lived in New Orleans back in the day. I don't know if they had these around here in Atlanta, but there was a place back in the day that you went in and you paid an amount of time to play for hours back then, and they had every system, and they had all the games back there, and you could put a card in, and they had a Neo Geo there. So we drove all the way over there to play a Neo Geo because hardly anybody had them.
It was huge.
And I remember me and Kevin, we beat what is it, Ninja Warriors, Ninja something, Ninja.
Yeah.
While we were there, but yeah, the Warp Zone. See, I knew it. The Warp Zone, dude. That place was cool. But you're right. Genesis music was different, but I have an affinity for it. Like I like it because it is different. And you can hear it and go, man, is that a Genesis game? And you don't even need to know what it is.
Sure.
Like
for sure.
Something else that I recognized or I realized is Genesis also had this weird shading style of everything. Like it was really white and light in the middle, and everything on the outsides was really dark. On every piece of armor, on every sword, on everything they did. And you could just see the game and be like, that's a Genesis game. That's not. And you don't even need to know it's a Genesis game. I mean, it's just really how they did combat. That's it.
Yeah.
Ninja Combat.
Yeah. Ninja Warriors.
So, anyways, yeah, great pick. Obviously, I enjoyed it. The other two guys on the panel are not going to be with it, but it's a fantastic game. If you like RPGs, this is your jam on this side of the world.
Absolutely.
So,
okay, they're making me want to play RPGs.
Dude, I'm telling you, because I was the same as you, Manny. Like when I was a kid, a teenager, I'm like, great, let me get in there and punch a bunch of stuff, and then I'm gonna get back outside. I'm gonna get
that's how it was.
And then I'm gonna go outside and punch stuff. So it was really hard for me. It took a game with a very compelling story to hook my ADD brain. In fact, y'all think I'm psycho now. You should have seen me as a teenager. It took a game with a really good, compelling story to get me to sit down and pay attention to it. And this was one of the first games that did that. The storytelling was so next level.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was gonna mention on the bullet hell games when you guys were talking about it, I was like, that's an accurate representation of the way my brain works at conventions. Of my whole personality is I'm just a walking bullet hell game. If you guys see me at convention, you'll know.
That's hilarious.
So
I think that's amazing.
Yeah, believe it or not, we did an episode on RPGs with Keith picking Preacher. So I was able to come out with 8, believe it or not, 8 RPGs that I didn't mind. So I mean,
I'll have to go back and check that out.
I think 75% of it was probably Pokemon.
I know it is,
but
sure.
I mean,
Pokemon.
It is what it is.
That's cool that an RPG like that was able to hook you, though, man. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. Cool.
I said, I don't know, man. I try to get into it, but I'm like Saturn Steve, man. I don't know. I can only imagine a teenage Saturn Steve, man, just running wild. That's super cool, man.
Other conversation.
Woo! It's a whole other show.
That's Rushmore After Hours, right?
There you go. I like that. That's awesome.
It's a very special Jerry Springer.
Yes.
Speaking of that, I just watched the Jerry Springer documentary. Have you guys seen that?
Ooh, how was that?
It's like a 2-part docuseries. It's really cool, actually, believe it or not. It's the 90s were wild, man. That was
a great time. It was a great time.
It's crazy. Like what people like that, and so I watched it because it was suggested after I finished the Mr. McMahon series. And
that was a good one too.
And it was like you would also like this. And it's like, dude, the 90s were just, what in the world was happening?
Yeah. It was a golden era in a lot of ways, man. Before,
hey, Lopez, you're still hanging around. Thanks for being here. He says, Jerry.
Lopez, Keith.
Lopez is absolutely the best.
Hey, Lopez, I'm a drummer too, so that's exciting, man. I always love having drummers in here. So
except for Picker.
Yeah, he's a drummer too, Andy. He was live doing a gig the other day. That was pretty cool. So, all right, Andy. Well, you're up, man.
You probably picked this one that I would go with this way. This is my favorite game for the Genesis, without a doubt.
And it's not
all 4 of mine were platformers because that's just my favorite style of game.
Wait, they're what?
They're platformers.
Say it again.
Platformers? What am I supposed to say?
Good. Okay, now tell them everybody what it's all. This is.
I know what it is.
The number one game, my buddy Sparkster Rocket Knight Adventures.
Oh.
Rocket Knight Adventures is the
Yeah.
George. I adore this game. It is so fun. Listen, the animation in this game is just so colorful, so bright. The gameplay is super fun. This is another game kind of like Comic Zone to me when I was growing up as a kid. It wasn't like a Sonic where everyone knew Sonic, right? It wasn't like, you know, some of these other games that I felt like everyone knew, Castlevanias and these types of things. This was a game that I felt like was my own. It was just, I was holding on to this. I didn't know where it came from. You know, I didn't find out till later that it was a series, that there were some sequels to it, some different elements to it. But dude, this game I played so much. I have fond memories of playing this game, having a ton of fun. I love like the diversity in the levels. Like there were some levels where you're just walking, right? There's some levels where you're on like the mine cart. There's some levels where I think there was one where you're on, you know, you're in the water or above the water. You're like flying as you're attacking these things. There was just so many really amazing different, you know, diversity in this game. But all along, it was just a great story. The sprites in this. I mean, the villains looked awesome. You know, the pig, whatever things you were facing the whole time. They reminded me of the thing from Star Wars. What's the what are the guards? Those anyway. They reminded me of those things. But yeah, dude, I love this game. It's another thing too. It's like, again, we've talked about it with almost every game we've talked about. Genesis sounds are just so iconic and different, and they hit in a certain way. And the sound of just like the attacks, like the slash of the sword or whatever, it's just I remember that so well. So anyway, so Rocket Knight Adventures, my number one. It was always going to be my number one. This is the George. This is my favorite game by far, for sure.
Yeah,
there it is, right there.
Some guy a few weeks ago said it was a shmup. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're saying it's a platformer. It's a
Yeah,
platformer.
it's a
platform.
It's a shmup also. So when
I'm
you
just
Google
giving you a
it,
hard
here we go. Let's
time.
check this out.
Some
Give me a
schmuck.
hard time. Great game, cool character,
For sure.
Sparkster. Yeah, man, awesome.
Yeah. What?
Fun game. This is on my Benjamins for nostalgic reasons only. I didn't have a lot of. I didn't play it a ton as a kid. Played it much later in life. Great game, fun game. And I knew it was here. This one in Comic Zone were easy pegs for you. I wasn't sure where you were going to go with the rest.
There you go, right there. Platform, shoot 'em up.
It's not.
I mean, listen.
Don't believe everything you read on the internet, guys.
I do believe every single possible thing that is out there, and Google's never let me down. So I'm
That's
going with
true.
it. Google has to
also,
get me through episodes. Google gets me through the RPG episodes. Google gets me through some of those ones. But yeah,
there it is.
Yeah, I love that
figured
game.
it was going to be on. It was almost on my list too. I mean, it kind of goes without saying, but we'll say it anyway. Like golden age of Konami, right there.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
You could not imagine the video gaming landscape in the 80s and 90s without Konami there. You know, we always kind of joke about, you know, Capcom or Konami, and it's hard to really know, and you can't really choose. But the more I started thinking about all the killer games that Konami had, it's I don't know, it's crazy. And couldn't you also like hang upside down in Rocket Knight, like stuff?
Yeah. So there's like the vines and stuff you can hang on. Yeah, for sure.
He's a possum, and on the back it calls him. It says, "You're the Thrustmeister, controlling Sparkster." You're the Thrustmeister. So,
hey guys, this is a PG episode. We can't keep saying that. So
I'm just reading the box.
I remember hearing that the Sparkster could have been the mascot for Sega if Sonic didn't work out. I honestly think he could have done it. I mean, he looks cool. He's got the sword. He's got the shields on. I mean, he's a possum. It's cool. You know, I could probably see it.
Right?
That's awesome. It's got the whole gear on and everything.
It's a great game. It is a great game.
Yeah,
all right.
It's an awesome pick, but it's not the best. We're saving the best for last.
Yeah, wait for it. Here we go.
Best for last.
Yeah, we're saving the best for last. Hey, I'm going to go with a Konami game. Just kidding. I'm going with a bunch of guys that left Konami, and their very first game they ever did was this fantastic piece right here, Gunstar Heroes.
Yes!
Gun. You got to go with Gunstar Heroes. And Kevin's in the chat. I saw. Look, I didn't want to hit it up super garbage. You're trying to give away my pick. Rocket Knight and Gunstar are solid.
Yep.
But look, I'm going to tell you, this game, hands down, is one of the most fun games I've ever played. It is so fun. The characters are crazy. The box art is amazing. It is so much fun. There's bullets everywhere. The type of guns they got a gun that like shoots backwards and around, and it's like magnetic. It's so cool. The amount of bullets, like this is like a bullet hell run and gun. It's as opposed to a scrolling shooter. But the characters are fun. You play as red and blue Gunstar. I mean, 1993 Game Fan Game of the Year. I think it's 93 when it came out. But Treasure left Konami, and this was their debut game. I always share the story when Kevin's in. We've got this MGX, I never can remember the name, system. And you basically take your discs or your games, you put it in there, and they would download them on the floppy disks. And I bought this thing from Kevin, and this was one of the games that he had downloaded on those discs when I got it, and I played this game nonstop for like a year. I love this game so much. It's awesome. It's what the Genesis is for me. This is a fun game, man. Yeah. Gunstar Heroes by George. There it is right there. Going crazy. So much fun. Upside down, around. There it is. Look at that box.
I thought Steve was going to bring out the vinyl.
So
DJ Saturn Steve.
I was about to bring out the Game Fan because shout out Kirk, Game Fan, for anybody who doesn't know, diehard Game Fan. I couldn't find, it's probably in there somewhere. Game Fan, this is the Phantasy Star 4 Game Fan. Look at this. Nice. Like the coloring, everybody remembers Nintendo Power and Electronic Gaming Monthly, EGM.
So this is the game, this is the box art I remember right here, Steve. Hey, zoom in on me. Let's see. Let me hit this. Right there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did a project with this one because I love this game so much.
Yep. Like a school project?
I like doing custom covers and stuff.
Show and tell.
MGH.
Yeah.
MGH.
But
I always MG. I always say MGX. I don't know why. MGH.
So, this was almost my number 1 or number 2. And how funny would it have been if I picked Gunstar Heroes for number 2, which I almost did until the last second, and you picked my number 1 for number 2.
Yeah.
But this game was so good. I didn't know that Treasure left Konami.
Yeah. So
that's so cool.
So in my notes, because I always do a little bit of research, it says,
yeah.
Gunstar Heroes is a renowned run-and-gun video game developed by Treasure and published by Sega in '93. It's Treasure's debut title that it landed this innovative gameplay. They left Konami in 1991 by a team that left Konami due to creative differences. The team departed in '92 to establish Treasure. So,
and this was the outcome? Gunstar Heroes was the outcome of them leaving?
Dude, everything Treasure did was crazy.
That's
and
crazy.
Different. And like, because I mean, what else? They did this. Of course, they did Guardian Heroes also. They did Radiant Silvergun, the shooter on Saturn, which is considered by many people to be the like S tier shooter GOAT. Just everything they did. Mischief Makers on N64.
Oh, that's a beautiful game too.
It was, and they had a very like specific style to them, and you could just look at it and know that's a Treasure game. And it was always very, very different. But yeah, man, good pull on that Game Fan. Like Game Fan was the most colorful, best magazine back in the day, and it doesn't surprise me that was their game of the year.
Yeah,
nice.
So
good
that
pick.
is my George, and man, we just hit the 2-hour mark, and man, this has been fun, but we're not done yet. We've got just a few more. This is our way of just celebrating the system in a whole and just shouting out a few of our leftover games that we have to talk about that we haven't got a chance to. We're going to do what we call All About the Benjamin. Stay with us. Here we go.
Little ditty action. Little ditty.
Yeah. That's about all the Diddy action we need. But,
Ain't no party.
Here we go. It's the same order. The only difference is it's a snake draft. So we're going to start the same order, but we're going to come back in round 2 the backwards way, 3 up the 4 and back this way. And you're going to have the first and last pick, Manny. And the other thing is, no game that we've already mentioned can be mentioned. Those are gone. And every time someone picks one, so Manny, you got first pick. If you have a game that you know is pretty popular, you might want to take it first, even though it's not your favorite of what's left.
Okay.
Because somebody else is going to snatch it. It's a little gamesmanship.
I like it. I like it. I got one that's popular, but I don't know if it's on anybody's list, man. But I know it's expensive. Woo! Here we go. Another great arcade port, guys. I'm going with the Punisher.
Nice.
Woo! Great castle, man. Amazing game. It looks good. The whole beat 'em up. What's his name? What's his partner's name? I can't think of it now.
Bob.
Oh, Samuel L. Jackson plays him in the movies. Nick Fury.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You can play as the Punisher. You can play as Nick Fury.
That's right.
And I think that's the only game you can play as Nick Fury in too. But I love it, man. It stayed really close to the arcade game, and that is the one that is on my list right now because that's a great game. I don't know if I'd ever buy it because it's so expensive, but whew.
All right. Nice. All right. So Steve, you're up.
That's a good
Man,
one.
okay.
Steve.
All right. You know what? I'm gonna go Vector Man.
Yeah.
Vector
Great
Man was
pick.
a lot of fun.
Good one.
Hey,
And this is another one, right?
Cellcast, we were on their show the other day, kind of messing around in the chat, and he said Vector Man would be my pick. So that's a good pick. A lot of people love Vector Man. It's a cool game, cool concept.
It's another one of those when you think of quintessential 90s Sega that just was different, that went all out on graphics. This game,
That was it.
did that. Yeah.
I remember the commercial was everywhere too. That commercial was always on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, Andy.
All right. So I'm going to go to my first sports game.
Okay.
I had put this on my list. Mutant League Football.
Well,
Ooh, yeah, there you go.
That was a blast. Absolutely.
Dude, there's nothing like that. Well, actually, remember the old school, what was it, Pigskin? Where you were like Vikings or whatever playing?
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of that game. Or Arch Rivals in
But this is
basketball.
cool because
Yeah.
you could be like,
Yeah.
you would like mutants,
Bill
but you could be
Lambier
like,
basketball, which was terrible. All those games were fun, man.
but every field had like a different, like either disadvantage or advantage. Like there was one you were like in space and you can fall off this planet or whatever. There was one that was like, which was like flat Earth back in the day.
Right. That's what I was thinking.
There was like different like things would come up and like it wasn't an opponent you were playing, but like would trip you and mess you up. This was a super fun game, and also like the names of the characters on there. I remember them having again wordplay with some of their names. So Mutant League Football.
And they used the John Madden system too. I think it was John Madden 93 or 94 or something like that. It was the same system that they used. They just changed them up.
Back in the day, that was one of the first Maddens that it probably mimicked right there in the beginning because those were pretty cool. So look, I'm going to go with 2 games. I don't know that these 2. Honestly, the next 4 I think I'm going to get because I don't know. Well, maybe Steve. He's an RPG guy. I got a couple RPGs I got my eyeball on, but I'm going to go with my first one, 91 dungeon crawler. Going with a really cool game, Shining in the Darkness.
Oh, so close.
That's going to be my first pick. Shining in the Darkness was in Thornwood. Great game. Played this at Kevin's. Played this a lot with him, and just a really cool labyrinth game, RPG style game. And then my next game is probably it was one of those games I almost thought you were kind of picking it with Earthworm Jim, Andy, because it is just absolutely ridiculous as well. I mentioned the guy as a sidekick in our sidekick short. But I'm going with the most ridiculous game on the Genesis, Toe Jam and Earl.
Oh,
Man,
nice.
Man, what a fun game this was. It's like these 2 alien rappers It's almost like hanging out with middle school kids. I know this because I hang out with middle school kids, and they're like rappers, and it's like one's developed. One looks like he's got a big chain on his neck, like Flavor Flav. The other guy looks like maybe Heavy D or something, but as aliens. They're going around like collecting all these crazy things to get back to their planet or whatever. It's so funny. The music's hilarious. It's just a fun game. Toe Jam and Earl.
Yep. And of course they got like the classic like fat guy, skinny guy, because one looks like Patrick Star. You know?
Yeah.
I always pulled that out too. What perfect Sega right there.
Yeah. All right. So coming back to me now for this round, I'm gonna go with a racing game. But it was a little bit more than a racing game. I'm gonna go with Road Rash. Road Rash.
Good pick.
Because you were a motorcycle, you were racing, but you were punching people and fighting at the same time, dude. It was such a cool game. Different, I guess, from some of those other racing. It was like Mario Kart before Mario Kart, right? Or I guess not, maybe before. It was around that same time, Mario Kart NES. Anyway, regardless, it was a fun game. Road Rash is my next pick.
Great pick.
That's a great pick.
Rock and roll racing.
So many good ones. Many good
Steve,
ones.
we're back to you. Steve, we're back
Oh,
to you.
back to me. Okay.
Yeah.
Man, so I thought you were going to pick Shining Force 2, Kirk, because, man, that was a great one. But I think – so there were other platformers that I just couldn't get on the list. One was Dynamite Heady, which is still cheap, but a great game. Another one that's really weird.
Another crazy game like Earthworm Jim. Like, what a – he's like throwing his head. And what the most ridiculous name, Dynamite Heady. Like, I mean, hey, let's guys. So he throws his
I wonder how they came up with that.
What would you like to call this game? Dynamite elbow? No. Dynamite head. How about Heady?
His head is the weapon. And you could get like a metal upgrade or whatever, and you launch the head and it comes back. Like, it's absolutely bonkers. And you can even use it to swing.
It's a treasure game?
It is a treasure game in spirit, but it is not a treasure game. I always think that it is. So if I'm wrong about that, somebody let me know.
It strikes again. I was wondering.
It's like, but it strikes. So it falls in that category to me of Gunstar Heroes, of Rystar, which is the other one I would mention, which is absolutely crazy but vibrant and just different.
Yeah, that's a gorgeous game.
A gorgeous game. I mean, just again, stuff that the Genesis shouldn't have been able to do, but it did.
Yeah. All right.
It was that blast processing. That's why.
That's it. That's the secret.
Blast processing.
Quick side note. Manny, look what I just found in my drawer. Can you tell? It's
is that Shadow Dancer?
It is.
It is. I see it. There it is.
I've never played it, and this sticker is my old shop. So I've had this.
I was going to say, who's putting stickers on your games, man?
Me. Literally me. 20.
It's a great game. Fire that bad boy up.
I will play this. Absolutely.
Hey, Michael Skinner is in the house. What's up,
Michael?
man?
What's up?
Michael, welcome to the party.
100% chance.
That like, man, Michael, thanks for being here.
100% chance that dude goes by Skinner. Promise you. Welcome, dude. Thanks for coming in.
All right, Manny, you get back-to-back picks now.
All right, here we go. Back-to-back, guys. Now, I got to go with this game because this has got to be one of the most underrated games of all time, and it needs a remake. It needs to be done. Guys, I'm going with Eternal Champions.
Wow.
This game. Wow. Woo! Oh, man. I used to rent this game like crazy, and it was a lot of fun. The characters are great. They look great. The fighting could be a little stiff here and there, but once you kind of get into the flow of things, it's not so bad. But I love the finishers. I love the soundtrack, and the background looks amazing. Everything about this game, there's hardly like any slowdown too, so that's always a plus. But Eternal Champions, it's even got a great name. Great name, yeah. But this is one of my picks right here.
Okay.
Poetically Christian says, "Thank you. Finally, a fighting game. Let's go."
There you go.
Well, there's only
says, Yep, meaning he probably goes by Skin.
I'm telling you. I knew.
I like it. And then we're going with another one here. X-Men.
Yes. That's
This
great.
game, oh man, I got one of these
Which one
cases
is that?
here.
Just
that one might have been Andy Steele.
Yeah, there you go. Can you see it?
that's
So this is like the one that you would get at like Kmart. You could do. They would do like a whole thing where you could trade in your games and get credit.
Hollywood Video for us.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
So they seal it up, man. $19.
Manny just won the poll tomorrow, and again, I should be biased for myself, but that game should make you win. That's a great game.
Oh, that's an amazing game. It looks great. It plays great. The box art is amazing. I mean, if you wanted to catch the essence of the X-Men cartoon in the 90s, I mean, that was it. I mean, you got Cyclops on there looking fierce. You got Wolverine.
Playing as Nightcrawler. I mean,
yeah, just going through the walls and then having to reset the console just to get through the computer. I mean, it's pretty mind blowing. That's like Metal Gear Solid stuff right there, switching the controller ports around. But on this one, he had to reset the console in order to hack the computer. I mean, it was really cool, man. Everybody looked really good. It played really good, but the characters were spot on. They didn't look cheesy. They didn't look too pixelated. They looked like the characters from the show. And so I got to go X-Men.
I love that one. All right. So you did both of yours. Yeah. Okay. So back to you, Steve, for a pick.
Okay. And the next pick of mine is going to be one I know nobody else is going to pick, but it's so freaking weird, and I love it. I'm here all day for some mystical fighter.
Mystical fighter.
It is a side-scrolling beat-em-up, like Streets of Rage, like Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time, Hyperstone Heist, but you're kabuki warriors, and you whip your hair back and forth as a weapon. It's thank you, Andy. It's bonkers. It's absolutely bonkers.
Mystical Fighter is another one of those. Like you like all the games that just have weird mechanics. Like it's a cool game. It's a cool game.
It's really cool. I picked this up on a complete whim a couple of years ago, and I was just like, this is every bit as weird as I wanted it to be. A lot of fun.
Wow.
I've never played it. I used to see it at the video store all the time, but I've never got the chance to play it. I never got the chance to rent it. So I'm going to add that to my list, man. I got to check that out.
Do it.
Nice. All right. So up to me. So I'm going to maybe one-up you on weird games here.
Let's go.
Let's see if we can.
We like weird.
Let's get weird.
The weirdest.
Let's get weird.
Feels like a fever dream kind of game. It did come out on Super Nintendo as well, but I had it for Genesis. It's a fighting game. I'm going Balls. 3D. Balls 3D.
That is the most random game.
Here's the thing. It's not a good game.
It's
but
not.
It has
That's
so
like
much.
Vector Man and Eternal Warriors together. Like
It's so weird. It is such. And I tried to replay this game like on something. And I was like, this is so difficult, and it's weird, and it's choppy, and it's. But for whatever reason, dude, I played the mess out of this game as a kid, and I don't know, man.
It tried to be a 3D fighter. It's like somebody had the idea for the Vector Man graphic, but then the Rise of the Robots people made the game.
But it's almost like in Tekken, how you can move like it's a whatever balls you could do that. So it was like. But the graphics were absolutely atrocious. I mean, the fact that your balls and like it's a weird game, but I love it. It has that special place for me. Balls 3D.
Do you remember the ads for it in all the magazines?
Yeah,
I remember seeing the promos in there. Yeah,
absolutely.
It was
all
everything
right,
you expect.
I'm really torn because all three of the games that I have left I really want to mention, and one of them's already been mentioned in the chat, so I'm going to avoid that one. I'm going to go, actually, I think this one's been mentioned in the chat too. Either way. But Steve, as you were like, hey, I thought you were going to say, I was typing in my notes about Shining Force 2 to pull up some information. Yep, there it is. Shining Force 2, it's a 93 game from Sega, tactical role-playing game. This game's so fun. Yeah. You play as Bowie. And he's just, I mean, it's just one of those classic Sega games. And Shining Force 1 is great too, but Shining Force 2 is kind of the one that I remember a little bit more. And another one, and I mean, I hate to just roll it out with another role-playing game, but I cannot believe we haven't talked about Landstalker yet. And Rolling Landstalker in action role-playing game. This is for Climax, another 1993.
Yeah.
93 was like the GOAT for me. So 93, I would have been 15 at this time. These games were just so good. This one, you're Nigel, and just two absolutely stunning games. The last pick, I had it all. I didn't think it was ever going to get mentioned, so I had it on the screen all night because it was right there, but it's not these role-playing games. So yeah, Shining Force 2 and Landstalker are going to roll out with those.
Yeah, Landstalker is probably your closest to Link, right? That
Yeah.
you're going to have. I mean, he's very elfish.
In look, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, just look and just.
that was literally my next two. I kid you not, like sitting right here with him, like, okay, well, man's got good taste. What can I say?
Well, you don't have to worry about me with my last pick. So here's the thing. I'm going to pretty much concede tomorrow's poll. I understand that my 8 are probably not going to be the top ones. There's some good ones in there, but probably not going to be. But I have 9 right here left that I can choose from that I just have listed, and I'm really sad because I know the other ones won't get picked on these ones. So maybe we'll talk about it after. But I'm going to go for another platformer and a weird, fun one. Gosh, do I want to do that one? Hold on. Give me. Yeah, this is the one I want to do. So I'm going to go
Kevin almost said that, Joker, just because of you. And that game is terrible. I almost said that game because of Kevin. Anyway.
Well, I'm going to go with a fun platformer that kind of reminds me along those Toe Jam and Earl, Earthworm Jim, that kind of stuff. Booger. We're going Booger Man. We're going Booger Man.
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it.
Nobody's listening.
As like a as a young kid in the 90s, Booger Man is just where it's at, dude. That was such a fun game. Such a fun game.
90s gross out humor, man. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It always reminded me a lot of
like they were going after us 14, 15-year-olds, man. They were like going hard, man. Booger Man.
Yeah. Yeah,
Booger Man
it was a pick and flick adventure.
Yeah.
That probably says a lot about me as an adult.
Dude, that's hilarious. That was hilarious.
Could have been a garbage.
Yeah, I was a weird kid for sure.
All right, Steve and Manny, you're finishing up our night right here. So what are the last two that need to be mentioned? There's so many.
Okay. Well, you did me the courtesy of doing Shining Force 2 and Landstalker. So I'm going to close it out. This is my last pick.
This is your last pick.
My last pick is, can I say 2 things about Shining Force?
Yeah, go for it.
Go ahead.
Real quick. Okay. Shining Force 2. Landstalker Climax was a great game also, but Shining Force 2 is published by Sega, and a lot of the people from Camelot worked on the Shining Force series. Camelot went on to do a lot with Nintendo as well. They did the Golden Sun series.
Golden Sun is like my underrated RPG. When I was in the military, that's the game that I played on my Game Boy when I was traveling from place to place in the airport. I played so much
good.
Golden Sun.
Yep. Well, the guy that did the music for that was his name is Motoi Sakuraba Motoi Sakuraba. He did the Shining Force games. He's done a lot of, so much stuff. He did Mario Golf. He's done all sorts of stuff. I couldn't even begin to name all the games, but so many people from other games worked on these games. This was I don't like strategy RPGs, but I loved this game. So it was a great game. Anyway, enough of useless trivia. My last game is Ranger X.
Oh, good game.
Ranger X is fantastic. And also, I mentioned I like to do custom covers. This is what I did. The US cover is very different. But that's what it actually looked like. This game was absolutely fantastic. It's kind of a side-scrolling shooter. It has elements of a platformer, but also elements of a shmup, because you have a vehicle you can transform and summon. So it's really, really cool. It looked so good. It's another one of those games that had like just a ton of colors and parallax going on. And it had an interesting control mechanism where you could go left and go right. Here we got it coming up here on the screen. And the sound design was done by Noriyuki Wadane, who went on to do the soundtracks for Lunar and Grandia. That's completely whatever. I don't know why I know the stupid stuff. But
That's what
Saturn, Steve,
Toyota.
and Kevin need to
it
have
comes up. Yep,
a
this is
show
Toyota.
together.
It'll come up. It'll say in Iwadare in a second.
Yamamoto.
It's the same guy. Oh yeah, there's your ninja from the Shadow Dancer.
Sinfu. Sinfu.
Sinfu.
Bugtaru.
What are they doing to these poor Japanese names?
Yeah, this is a cool game.
I love this game. I really wanted to put it on my top 4. I just couldn't quite squeeze it in there. But yeah, and the cool cinematics and wireframe stuff, like this is stuff you didn't see every day on systems back then. So
Yeah,
Nice.
so
There you go. All right, so
Yeah,
Manny's up. You get
Manny, I
the
think
final pick of the day. Final pick of the day. This is like mystery relevant. This is our Brock Purdy. Who you got? What's the last one?
We'll have 1 or 2.
oh, there we go.
You got
Yeah,
one
one.
more.
You got one left.
1 more. Okay. I don't know, man. It's a grail. See what we got here.
Oh my god.
I'm still learning, guys. I'm still
I
learning.
knew it.
Barney and Frank.
I'm so
just
glad
kidding,
I
man.
didn't pick it. Then when we would both have had
I'm
it.
just kidding. I couldn't do that to you guys. I got to go with the classic, man, because this is the game I used to play at the arcade all the time. I go with my dad, and I pizza grease all over that joystick. And this game was incredible. It sounded incredible. It played incredible. But guys, I'm talking about Altered Beast.
Yeah, there it is.
Yes!
That's Sega greatness right there, guys. I love this thing.
That hat is sick, by the way. That is
Manny,
sick.
you did it. You did it, Manny. Thank you. That was my other pick. That was
There
my
it
other
is.
pick.
Yeah, I'm glad somebody did it.
I gotta get it on the list, man, because this is when I think of Sega Genesis.
Yes.
I think of Altered Beast. Like this is the game that came with the Genesis in the beginning.
Yep.
And this is the one that I just
Rise from your
Rise
grave.
from your grave.
there you go. I mean, you can turn into a wolf, you can turn into a dragon, you can turn into a what else was it?
Golden Wolf, the dragon, the bear. What the heck was the bear doing?
Like 3 characters.
The bear's like blowing bubbles or something. But and then so it was the wolf, and then the dragon, then the bear, then the golden dragon, right? Or the
There
golden
you
wolf.
go. That's what it was. There it
I'm
is.
glad you picked it, Manny. I wanted to pick that one too.
The
So this
soundtrack
game is so fun, but I'm going to tell you again. I'm going to go back. I picked Golden Axe over it. Both these games, to
I
me,
noticed.
they live in the same world. They are
Yep.
like they should be like Duck Hunt, and Mario Brothers, right? They should be on
Yep.
the same disc. And to me, they were so short. And back then, like I can remember just starting this game over and over and over and over. The eyeball thing and the guy throwing his head and and then you finally learn how to beat it, and then it's like the easiest game you've ever played. It's like, dude, I'm done with it in like 15 minutes. So it is a hard game, but man, after you've had it, you played it a lot, it becomes very easy. I wanted to pick this. Kevin mentioned it earlier, but I went with Landstalker instead.
Yeah.
Alien Storm was that's a cool shooter. Alien Storm, that was a really cool shooter game.
Oh, Alien Storm was. I used to play that
I
game.
loved Alien Storm.
Beat 'em up, yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Manny,
guys,
I'm glad you picked
that is the show. We've got a ton of other ones. This is what I recommend. Steve and Manny, if you've got some other picks, Andy, if you've got some other picks, throw them in the regular comments of the show, and let everybody see them. Ooh. Speaking of that, we got 15 people still here. Throw your top 4. Throw your top 4 in the regular comments, not this chat. This is the live chat. Put them in the other set of comments, maybe tomorrow or later tonight if you want, just so that we can see all the top 4s of everybody. We're also going to have on Instagram and YouTube, we'll have the poll. Last week, the poll didn't go through as a poll, but there were a lot of voting. Andy, and I think I might have edged this one out last week. But by going and checking everybody what other people said, but it was really close. So you may have actually won that one too. It was really neck and neck. I know I do have to mention this. We were in our buddy's show the next day, and you guys might not have seen it.
Yeah, there's
you
some
guys go back and
controversy.
check it out. We went and we did our top. They do a draft like we did on Benjamin's, but the whole show is that. But they also talk about their reselling business and a bunch of other stuff. And it's called Vintage Sport Flips. And their show for the night was drafting your favorite five. Oh, yeah. Yes, someone did mention Barney's hide and go seek. There it is. There it is.
For some reason, I got a complete box, guys.
I do too. I don't know why. I kid you not, I do.
I mean,
it is not on my shelf.
So, here's the deal. Here's the deal. Help us out, guys. Put those things in there, but head on over to Instagram. There'll be a poll. Pick who you think out of the four of us won, and it's just a fun game to see where we're going. I think right now I'm up 2-1 on Andy. That's the big deal. So,
I have a request.
Now, here's the deal. We were in another show, and we're drafting our favorite characters. So any kind of character in any game, heroes, villains, NPCs. And the guy comes on, the guy that runs the show. He's a little older. He doesn't play a lot of games. I'll say a little older. He's me and you, Steve's age, but he doesn't play any games. And we're a little older. We are a little older. But here's the deal. He chose Mario with the first pick, which carried him in the poll. He had first pick because they do like a spin for the who drafts, not like that.
Oh yeah.
So he takes Mario, and then comes back and takes the Z block from Tetris.
Worst character. A Vinny block? I'm thinking the straight line block or the square.
Tetris. He also picked Pac-Man because that's old. And what was the fourth character? Oh, Echo the Dolphin.
Echo the Dolphin.
Echo, yeah, okay.
And what was this other character he picked? He picked one more. Anyways, he won by a landslide.
That's crazy.
By a landslide. He won by he had 40 votes. I'm like, if this isn't home cooking, you have all your friends go and vote for the Z block, dude.
Well, the thing is, they didn't have to show their ID when they voted, so it was, it's voter fraud was happening. I think it was some dead people voting.
Yeah,
who knows what it was. So
yeah, we had some. It was like over here in DeKalb County in Atlanta last. So here we go. Do us a favor. Go there. Leave your top four in the comments. Guys, we love you guys to death. We're now trying live on Instagram. You can go check that out. And here's the deal. I want you guys to go and check out all our friends. Next week, we have, actually, instead of saying next week, for the 17 of you here, let's show this little clip. This is what's coming up and what we have left. Check this out. And our next 4 weeks are going to be packed. We got Poetically Christian coming on with Jag. Then we have if you hang out in the convention scene, pretty much everybody on the last 3 shows. They're all around. And we couldn't be more excited for having you guys on. You guys are blessing us, Steve, Manny, and everybody from the beginning of this to the end. We go to these conventions just to kind of hang out and connect and network, and we have found a really cool group of people. The community over there is awesome. I don't care what anybody says. It's some of the best in video game creators. Go check all these guys out. and it's going to be amazing. So we love you guys. But before you head out, Steve and
Yes.
Manny, since you went first, you can go first here. Tell everybody what you got coming up. What's going on your channel? You got any
Absolutely.
conventions you're going to be at? Where you can find you? Where's your Instagram? Tell everybody how to come and check you out.
All right, guys. So thank you, first of all, for having me on. I really appreciate it. You guys could have asked anybody else, any other content creator, and you guys asked me and Steve to do it. But thank you so much, man. I really do appreciate it. I love being here. I love hanging out with you guys. You guys are awesome. I can talk to you guys all day. But guys, again, I'm Manny's Arcade. I do a lot of retro gaming content. I'm a collector of arcade games, pinball machines, anything retro, really. I do have a YouTube channel where I like to support small businesses, so I help out my friends a lot. And recently got into like reselling about a year ago. So you can find me on the Encore app and whatnot under the same name, Manny's Arcade. I always sell a lot of games for really, really good deals. I always try to go just a little bit below price charting. If not, maybe $1 or $2 above. But you can find me there. Also, like I said, Instagram is one of my main channels that I post probably the most on. I'm also on TikTok. So if you guys look for me on TikTok. But again, I'm also on YouTube. And I do a lot of game hunting videos there. I go to swap meets, flea markets. I go to a lot of gaming events, buy-sell trade events that are local, here in Los Angeles and stuff. What else do I do? Oh, I have a Chasing the Dream series where I'm trying to build a complete Sega Dreamcast collection because I'm a huge Sega Dreamcast fan. As you can tell, we're Sega fans. But I'm trying to build that, man. But I'm starting to get to that area now where it is pretty expensive. The games are getting pricier. And I also have another series called Destination Saturn, where I try to build a Sega Saturn collection, but it's not all the games. I just want the games that I always wanted to buy, but I never got to play because I never had a Saturn in the 90s. I actually just picked one up about a year ago. So, yeah. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the only place you can find me. Oh, hold on. My wife's pointing at me. What is it?
You're going to be
one of the most important ones, guys. I'm going to be at SoCal Retro Gaming Expo with my friends, the Pixel Game Squad. And me and my wife are going to be vending there. We're going to have a huge booth, and we're actually going to be bringing about 10 arcade games for everybody to play. They're all going to be on free play. And if you guys see me there, come hang out, man. Let's talk. And I love hearing you guys' stories. So thank you. Thank you for having me on.
So I'll just jump on. There will be a time, I don't know in the near future, but in the future, that we will make our way down over to SoCal and everything Rift and that we got going on. I'm
originally from SoCal.
Met those guys Pick and Preacher. Jared and Eric, those guys were on Pick and Preacher show, and it was an awesome show. And I connected with them, which connected us around. We'd love to have those guys on. I know they're super busy, but
they're not.
We want to make our way to SoCal one of these days. Maybe even be able to preach in SoCal would be amazing. So we would love that. And the only thing about this year is Andy and I are just both finishing our master's degrees, finishing up our degrees, and finishing up some other things. And my daughter is in her last stretch of she starts to get recruited next year, and we're heading out to like 8 real. We're going to Kansas City, Florida twice, Tennessee. We'll be in Los Angeles. We'll be in Orange County. We'll be down a little further, but we'll be there. We'll be in Colorado and Denver, and we're bouncing all around. And I just can't, because the SoCal is like right in the middle of all that. And I'm like, man, I can't do it. I'll have to wait until she's done, which is in like 2 years, and then I can probably figure it out. But man, I do want to get over there. But Siege this year, I think I'll be in Kansas City too. So I don't know. It's going to be crazy. I want to try and get to Siege again, but I don't know if I'm going to make it or not. Where in Florida? We are all over in Florida, Isaac. Usually Newberry or down in Orlando. The main spot from University of Florida, University of Tallahassee, Florida State. We go to a lot of those things. So yeah, we'll be all over.
Yeah.
You're up, man. Tell the 18.
Well, man, first of all, thank you guys, Andy and Kirk, for having us. Like Manny said, you could have had anybody. I'm very grateful that all the other people said no when you were stuck with me. So it was great to be here. Thank you to everybody else who hung out with us the whole time too. Simon Steve. You can find me on YouTube and on Instagram. 2024, the end of 2024 was very slow for me for content because my real life work was very, very hectic. Thankfully, that's coming to a crawl or slowing back down to normal. So whether you want to or not, you're going to see more of me coming up here really soon. So I've got some stuff in the works. So stay tuned for that. I will be first and foremost at our buddy's RetroCon convention in Williamson, South Carolina, just outside of Greenville. PTR Games, they are on Instagram. Awesome folks. If you're anywhere around South Carolina, come hang out. I'll be there. Bryce JW is coming, and all the usual guys too. You know what? That's fair. That's fair. As long as you don't unsubscribe for me so you can watch Retro Wolf or Arkansas Picker. But anyway, yeah, so I'll be there. And then next, I'll be at Game Central Station in Athens, Georgia, Winder, April 26th and 27th. So come hang out with us there. That's really it, you guys. Just super thankful that you guys let us come hang out. So appreciate you.
We'll say this. I shout out to Manny for saying yes, because when Manny said yes, it talked Steve into saying yes because Steve was on the fence. So
I was like, no way. Okay, fine. I guess it's Manny.
All right, I'll go hang out with Manny.
Yeah.
But hey, man, look.
It's a good combo, man. It's a good combo. Me and Steve, I think we just so much energy, brother. I'm telling you.
I love it. I love it so much.
Oh, I love you guys, man.
Hey, look, we're just really digging in with this whole scene, and just to share with you guys on the back end what we got coming up. We have the Louisiana RetroCon. This is last year's shirt, but we have that this weekend. If you're in the Gonzales area, be sure to come out to Lamar Dixon and hang out with us, and we'll just have some fun there. We don't have a booth, but we'll be there with Pac-Man, be there with Keith. A few other people are going to be there. There's going to be a lot of Sonic voice actors and things there. There's going to be FNAF guys there. There's going to be a bunch of really cool booths that we're always hanging with. Some of our best friends. We'll be live most of the time, emceeing it. That's going to be awesome. And then in a few weeks, we'll be at St. Tammany Collectors Con, which is also down in South Louisiana. And then there'll be a little bit of a break for a time. We'll go to camp, and all this stuff that we have over the summer is just crazy packed. Thank you guys for hanging out. Anybody in the chat, if you want to be on the show, we are booking music and movies topics right now. Guys, I know you're video game creators, but you can come on the show for whatever you want. If you have an interest in something else, we let the guest pick the topic. Our next 2 months are going to be music, then movies and TV, then nostalgia. Maybe we get that box art one. And then we do sports. You're a Brady guy. So you might like some sports, but here's the real goat. Just like you know,
I'm not having fun anymore. That's for sure.
Yeah. Got it. He learned how to rig games from your guy, so that's how that works. Well, after sports, we go into food, and who doesn't love food? We all love food. So if you guys want to be on the show, come and hang out with us. Message us in Instagram. That's the best way. And man, the community is so awesome. You guys are just over the moon. We're almost to that 4K hours now already. So we hit 3. We're moving on to 4. We love you guys, and it's just a cool deal, man. We didn't think we would have 2 people, and and now we have 2 people wanting to join us every week. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
Thank you guys.
You guys
Andy,
are doing amazing. You guys are killing it.
Great job.
Thank you guys.
Yeah. Again, thank you for having
us. Shout outs. Again, I don't think he's been in here in a minute, but Advent Dark Link sending $10 over and gift
our first super. Andy gifted 10 subscribers. So yeah,
that's
Michael
awesome.
Skinner, we'll see you at the RetroCon. Come hang out with us, man.
Skinner.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I think it's. I mean, we're pushing 240 now on this episode. This has been a fun night for sure. We'll see you guys next Thursday. I might do a little Friday morning fellowship tomorrow live too. So just come hang out with us for about an hour.
Put your comments in on the other side, so we all see who your top fours are.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what
Well,
I want to
it's
see.
time.
Who do you guys? What games do you guys like? Top
Yeah.
4. I want to see
Yeah,
that.
and don't vote for Kurt because he stole all my picks. And go play this before you vote.
I think Balls 3D eliminated me. I mean, listen, I knew what I was getting into.
Great
What's
old
funny
game.
is you chose Balls 3D, but you had 9 other really good games you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I
And you
know,
chose
but I
Balls.
had to talk about Balls 3D.
Like that was the worst one, and Manny picked Barney.
It's a learning curve. Catch it up.
All right, guys. Well, hey, I think it's time to say goodnight. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. Thank you, everybody who was in the chat. Let's say goodnight like we always do. This is the Rushmore Show, where it's all about your top 4.
And many more. I forgot.
Much more.
And nothing more. Peace.
And many more. Good night.
Many more.